This feudal lord is highly scientific. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 701 Neighbors. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to arrive at the end of our journey, and also the new starting point of our life, the city of sunlight. The radio in the airship was turned on, and the voice of the driver came out. Although he had been driving for 2 days, the driver did not feel the slightest bit of fatigue. After all, he was a professional driver, one of the characteristic professions of the great wilderness city. Driver is slightly different from knight. Otherwise ordinary knight cannot drive such a big mount. When the driver spoke, everyone also broke out in a commotion. Great, we finally arrived. Sunlight. City of sunlight. This time, I will take back everything that belongs to me. Everyone began to talk about it, and their faces burst into expressions of either great surprise or relief. The driver also continued, after the airship is stable, please get off the airship according to the previous instructions. After getting off the airship, enter the city of sunlight. Someone in the city will guide your next behavior. As the driver spoke, the airship landed steadily, and the hatch opened in a few minutes. The next moment, the scene was directly out of control. Although they had been told many times, people still couldn't bear the expectation in their hearts and rushed out. From the ground, the sunlight city didn't look like a cuboid crystal at all, but more like a rectangular tower. Most people ran towards the gate under the tower in the distance, where the door was, because many people went in and out from there. As they got closer, many people slowly stopped their steps. Some of them were timid and didn't dare to approach. It was really too magnificent, too gorgeous, too beautiful. The kind of neatly arranged on the glass that sparkled in the sun had a wonderful beauty. Coupled with the hardships along the way, they felt unreal. They were afraid that this was fake. They, the bottom of society, didn't deserve the favor of Lord Lin Ke. Such a good city, they didn't deserve to live in it. Thinking of this, many people walked slower and slower, and finally stopped. Until, haha. Children of the Everfrozen Council, don't you want to go in and take a look? Your future new home. The voice of Frostwolf Vol sounded around, causing some passers-by to stop and watch. Vol was also very curious about the Sunlight City, and since the Holy Life Alliance had out, the Everfrost Council naturally needed to quickly establish a closer relationship with the Great Wasteland City. Therefore, Vol came here to play, and the chief of the Northern Frostwolf family naturally agreed. So, at Vol's voice, everyone woke up. Everyone, let's go. Nix also came to the front of the crowd. So the crowd followed Nix and Vol, one big and one small, to the Sunlight City. Old Ravi was weak, so he crawled on Victor's body and was carried by Victor. The gate of the Sunlight City was open, and there were no door panels or anything like that, but there were guards guarding it. In addition to Nix's group, there were some other scattered small groups who came here spontaneously, and they should all be people from the lava territory. At Nix's signal, Old Ravi and his group of about 100,000 residents had no obstacles all the way, and it took a whole day to completely enter the city. Thanks to Victor's tall and mighty figure, Old Ravi and Victor were the first to enter the city. As soon as they entered the gate, they could feel a warm air blowing on their faces, as comfortable as basking in the sun in a place with birds singing and flowers blooming in spring. At the same time, a huge station caught their eyes. Old Ravi and his friends took the train in this station. Of course, they first chose a place to live under the prompt. The place of residence here is chosen at will, or in other words, the place of residence here is to live first and pay later. They only need to choose a station at random from the station, then get off the train, look for a place with the word station office, and find a staff member. The staff will guide them to apply for an ID card, and then use the ID card to loan to buy a house, live in it first, and pay it back slowly later. So, Old Ravi and Victor discussed for a long time, chose a station with a nice name, and then took the train there. Anyway, even if they are not satisfied, they can find another place again, because the train here is free, and they can take it as many times as they want. This is the power of urban welfare. So, in the midst of a dazzled vision, old Ravi and Victor finally chose a house, and then jointly took out a loan to buy it. Old Ravi and Victor seemed to be a grandfather with his grandson, or a young master with an old servant, but in fact they were some kind of friends regardless of age. So naturally they bought it together. The City of Sunlight, the home of old Ravi and Victor. The new house was built with humans as the living object, so it came with a weak magic circle to shrink the races that exceeded a certain size and height. After Victor shrunk to about 1.7 meters tall, he and old Ravi entered the room. The room was spacious and bright, with 3 bedrooms, a living room, a bathroom, and a kitchen. There was also a spacious balcony with a groove for raising fish and a place to plant flowers and grass. It looked ordinary but warm. "Excuse me, is anyone there?" Just as old Ravi and Victor were surprised by the spaciousness and warmth of this house, there was a knock on the door. The two looked at each other. Victor nodded and walked towards the door, while old Ravi hid behind the sofa and picked up a broom to defend himself. A good gap will be robbed by others. Fortunately, old Ravi was not alone. Although his companion Victor was young, he was already a level 5 professional. Victor walked forward cautiously and asked, "Yes, what can I do for you?" I'm your neighbor." After listening carefully, Victor found that it was a little boy's voice outside the door, but he did not relax his vigilance. In the comics, some intelligent life forms are good at ventriloquism and can imitate other people's voices. However, he did not feel the fluctuation of magic power, and this was the sun's glow, not the territory of the northern Frostwolf family, so he still opened the door. A boy with fiery red hair was standing at the door, holding a basin in his arms, which contained some fruits. Seeing a wolf's head sticking out from behind the door, the boy was not afraid, but raised the basins in his hands. "This is the fruit my family brought from Dahuang City, and I brought it for the neighbors to taste." Victor was a little surprised. Send food to them? Please give me more advice in the future. If you have any difficulties, you can come to us." The red-haired boy put the fruit into the door, then retreated to the house opposite, gestured goodbye to Victor, and closed the door. Victor was confused. Chapter 702, Vigor and Decline. Victor didn't understand much, but he still accepted the fruits from these neighbors. Then he analyzed them with old Ravi. "Are you sure there is no poison?" Old Ravi wondered. "Are these neighbors stupid? Non-toxic fruits, why give them to them? What's the point? I read a book before and heard that the atmosphere in the Great Wilderness City seems to be different from our Everfrizz Council." Victor looked thoughtful. The Everfrizz Council is located in the northernmost part of Nassam. The land is bitterly cold and there is not much food. Even the animals raised are far less than those in the south. Therefore, the degree of food shortage here is worse than in the south. There are often hungry monsters that break into various cities, and even small cities form beast tides. For example, when old Ravi sees some food on weekdays, he would rather eat it than give it to others, even if he wastes it. Giving it to others is helping the enemy. When others eat it and have strength, they can come to rob his things the next day. Therefore, the two of them are still very confused about their neighbors sending fruits. They have been analyzing whether there is a conspiracy. Could it be that this is just a gift from someone with good intentions? Victor looked at the milk fruit that looked like a leaf and wanted to taste it very much. "I heard that milk fruit is a specialty of Phaser, and Uzumaki Naruto's favorite is milk fruit." Victor showed his desire to eat it. Good intentions? Old Ravi thought of what he had seen and heard along the way, as well as the great wasteland city he had seen on TV, and couldn't help but hesitate. Maybe it is true. Everyone said that the great wasteland city is a paradise. Now it seems that, although people from the great wasteland city are stupid, it feels not bad. So, old Ravi and Victor, who had been analyzing there for half an hour, finally started to feast. After eating, the two found that they did not feel uncomfortable. The only discomfort was that old Ravi rarely had a full stomach, and this time he felt a little sleepy after eating a full stomach. Then old Ravi used the thing that was said to be used for showers again, washed off the dirt on his body with the tap water that was cleaner than the water he had drunk before, and fell into a deep sleep. Countless people poured into the Sunlight City. In just 1 week, the Sunlight City was almost full. You know, the maximum capacity of the Sunlight City can exceed 100 million. There are countless small spaces in it, but they were all burst by the residents who flocked in. Sunlight. At this time, the people of Nasan discovered that the sunlight does not necessarily represent the brilliance of the midday sun, but also represents the gentleness and kindness of the sunset. Of course, the old and weak, and the disabled in Nasan poured into the sunlight city, which made many people sneer. Abyss, a noble banquet. I don't know if the person who led the charge was too excited, or the lava steward expanded, absorbing so many rats, garbage, scum, and burdens. The city is probably finished. Some nobles are talking about this matter, about the sunlight city. This is also a routine, and people are talking about this matter almost everywhere. The sunlight city actually took in so many old, weak, and disabled people. So many people from the lower classes. What's the use of those people? In the eyes of many people, it is a place where filth and dirt are hidden, a place full of decadence. After spending so much effort, and so many materials, to build such a good city, it was eventually ruined by some mortals in the lower classes. This made the names Sunshine, Lin Ke, John and other words with related derivative meanings heard constantly in the nobles' cocktail party. Of course, there are also people who support Lin Ke. Everyone has a day when he is tired. If a civilian strongman wants to explore the plane, isn't the Sunshine City the place where he entrusts his family? I think what the Duke of Lava thinks, you corrupt people definitely don't understand. The leisure of that city makes me and my master yearn for it. Some people think that it must be very comfortable in a city like that. There is no intrigue between the nobles of the Abyss, and there is no vitality like the Great Wasteland City. But there is a sense of tranquility and comfort. Not everyone in the world likes prosperity and noise. There must be a peaceful and harmonious place for others to live. In their opinion, Sunshine is such a place. The elderly are old, but they are less competitive than young people. Just like the sports activities in the Sunshine City, they are also some gentle and slow sports, not the fist-to-fist fights in the Great Wasteland City. Therefore, even in the Abyss, there are many people who support Lin Ke's decision. As for the Holy Life Alliance, it is even more so. Most of the races and tribes such as the Tauran and Rhino people like the Great Arena in the Great Wasteland City, and the Fox people, Civet Cats, etc. like badminton and table tennis in the big stadium. But for some races with peaceful nature, such as some branches of the Deer people and Rabbit people, they don't like those sports at all. What they like is planting flowers, raising grass, playing chess, playing mahjong and the like. So, in just 3 months, the appearance of the Sunshine City has changed. In the early morning, the sunlight was soft and bright. Old Ravi put on the uniform of a sweeper, carried a bag of food prepared in advance, and set off for work. Victor had already gone to school. Although he was a frost wolf, he still had to study. Old Ravi found a job, still the same as before, sweeping the streets. The purpose of the Great Wasteland City is not to support people who only want to eat and be lazy, eat and wait for death. The same is true for the Sunshine. Everyone here needs to work, and cannot sit back and enjoy the fruits of others' labor. It's just that these jobs are some easy jobs, especially for the elderly, the weak, the sick and the disabled. For example, sweeping the streets, as long as it is kept clean. For example, planting flowers and grass, such as farming, etc. There are no performance requirements, but it is more like cultivating an interest and hobby for the elderly. Of course, the salary is also lower. There is a reason for this. If the salary is high, then there will be many people who will flock to it for the salary of this kind of job, and the elderly may not have this kind of job. At the same time, the price level of Sunshine is also very low, and there are many discounts for the elderly, the weak, the sick and the disabled. This makes life in the Sunshine City more leisurely and relaxed. Of course, it also reduces prosperity and extravagance. But for people like Old Ravi, it is already very good. Old Ravi, I'm going to work. Old Ravi went out and happened to meet his neighbor who was also going out and was greeting him. Yes, are you going out to sell shoes too? Old Ravi greeted him with a smile. Yes, I didn't expect that the shoes made by my mother couldn't be sold in the Great Wasteland City, but they are quite popular here. The man opposite smiled. Haha, I like those shoes too. They are thick, durable, and warm, unlike those shoes that young people like, which are colorful and will break after a few days of wearing. That's right, you know the goods, haha. The two chatted all the way downstairs and went to work. In the Sunshine City, there is also a different kind of vitality rising like the sun. Or rather, it is not vitality, but hope, the hope of life. Chapter 703, Recent Situation in Dahuang City. At the top of the Great Wilderness Tower, in the conference room, Lin Ke sat on the lava throne and looked at the report of the Sunlight City. The data was surprisingly good. Management, medical care, infrastructure, etc. were all complete, and the Great Wilderness City's advanced preparations and various plans made it possible for the Sunlight City to not make any major mistakes in the past few months. Not only did it not make any major mistakes, but it also made all the rumors in the past disappear. The reputation of some nobles from the abyss was also slapped in the face. The remarks that the Sunlight City would eventually become a dead city had long been refuted. Seeing that the Sunlight City was running well, Lin Ke was relieved. Let's look at the next thing, which is the situation of some emerging cooperatives. These cooperatives, such as the Shadowstone Cooperative, deduce the people's power to a certain extent to alleviate some of the commodity pressure in the Great Wilderness City. Of course, the main pressure is not the inventory pressure, but the pressure of insufficient commodities due to too many orders. Working overtime is not enough to meet the huge demand, not to mention the demand of the secondary plane. Even the demand of Nasan cannot be met. Fortunately, these things need to be done slowly and not in a hurry. Lin Ke saw that many places in the Black and White Kingdom had opened factories and produced some local products, and he nodded slightly. Industrialization cannot be just the industrialization of the Great Wilderness. The Great Wilderness may be the one who lit the torch, but it takes everyone's efforts to illuminate the night sky. After the previous preparation, the Nasan alliance promoted by the Great Wilderness City has already taken shape. Although the Holy Life Alliance and the Everfrizz Council have not changed much. After all, the ice is not frozen in a day, and many of their things have been settled. But the Black and White Kingdom has changed a lot. In the early years, many nobles imitated Azan and tasted the sweetness, and later more nobles took the first bite of crabs at the Nasan Trade Union. As a result, the nobles of the Black and White Kingdom have now begun a series of changes. It's just that I don't know when this fire of change will burn in the Holy Life Alliance and the Everfrizz Council. As long as Nasan lets the change burn, then there will be more capital to fight against Honduras. While checking the changes in industry, Lin Ke was also thinking. After reading the material situation of the continent, Lin Ke looked at the next thing. The situation in terms of ideology. The 100 Schools of Thought conference is in full swing. This is a matter of great concern to the upper echelons of the entire Nasan, and many people even personally come out to create theories. There are legendary strongmen and ordinary mortals who curse each other in the air. There are couples who divorce directly because of their own opinions. And there are rat people and snake people who appreciate each other because of theories. In short, at the ideological level, no matter what happens, it makes people feel very reasonable. For example, in a debate, it is normal for a legendary strongman to lose to an ordinary person. For example, in terms of ideology, people with different paths cannot make plans together, let alone get married. So old couples who have been married for decades will also divorce because of their ideological concepts. Therefore, this prosperous situation in ideology has also attracted the attention of the entire Nasan. In just a few months, many people have emerged from it and established various prominent theories. Even many civilian talents have been discovered. For example, the Institute of Biology specially hired a teenager. The boy has been interested in observing animals since he was a child. He observed all kinds of animals day and night, and he discovered and guessed the habits of many animals and monsters. For example, he found that some wild animals would find some plants to eat when they were sick or injured, and then their condition would become much better. This is also a help in medicine. So the boy became famous because of this. What's more, the student of Dahuang University who focused on one point and reached the pinnacle was praised by Emperor Wumian. In short, this 100 Schools of Thought conference allowed all kinds of intelligent life in Nasan to see that the brilliance of thought was not inferior to the prominent power. Even more, many people feel that, even if a person has great power, he may not be respected, but if a person has a lofty thought, he is so admirable. The hawks and doves are developing well. Lin Ke looked at the words on the report and was satisfied. The 100 Schools of Thought conference also allowed him to see many lofty thoughts, and saw that many people's interests and hobbies could actually study such a great knowledge. Of course, it is good for the citizens of the Great Wilderness, the Black and White Kingdom, and even for Nassim. This benefit may not appear now, as expected at the beginning, and it may not shine until thousands of years later. But it is good after all. It's just the finances, Lin Ke said to himself, and then felt a headache. In just a few months, he was almost squeezed dry. The creation of so many brilliant theories should be a good thing, but it is not a good thing for the wallet. The financial burden has naturally become heavier. Fortunately, the development of some secondary planes, such as the Naga plane, has brought new financial backflows, otherwise it would probably collapse. Thinking of this, Lin Ke couldn't sit still. Lin Ke asked someone to take back the giant beast cells from the giant beast plane for a search, but there was no progress. It proves that, although the cells of those giant beasts are strange, they are not the core problem. Lin Ke still has to find out the reason why the giant beasts will appear in the giant beast plane. He feels that the secret inside may also help him. You know, the giant beast is a race. Different races form one race, which makes Lin Ke feel that perhaps the mystery of the giant beast race comes from this. You know, every intelligent race in each plane has its own magic. Just like the phaser people and other animals have the Feiji, which is a very good race to be a knight. At the same time, it also provides a source of raw materials for their signal transmission business, and even computers and the internet are budding. The trading center standing outside the Great Wilderness City was also established for this reason. And the Naga hair of the Naga plane can have all kinds of instincts of aquatic life for a certain period of time after swallowing, which is also a good thing. Therefore, each plane has its own brilliance. Lin may have a hunch that the brilliance of the giant beast plane may come from the giant beast clan and their cells. Thinking of this, Lin Ke didn't think much about it, and flew out of the Great Wilderness Tower directly, ready to go home to get some things, and go to the giant beast plane. But when he passed a big tree, he stopped again. Lali, do you want to go out with me? Lin Ke looked at the natural tree in front of him and smiled. The lali was naturally the tree of nature that had spiritual intelligence. She was very close to Lin Ke, and Lin Ke also liked this simple and innocent tree spirit of nature. Thinking of the jungle in the giant beast plane, Lin Ke nodded and said, okay, I'll take you to play. Chapter 704 The Beginning of Civilization. No one knew where Lali had learned the magic of transformation. Of course, because she was not very skilled, Lala's tree trunk could only break out of the soil, and it was not very useful. However, it was much more convenient for Lin Ke to bring Lali with him at this time. Lin Ke stretched out his hand, and Lali jumped out of the soil, shrank, and fell into Lin Ke's hand, like a piece of jade stone. Brother, where is Xiao Xingan? Lali was curious, is he also in that secondary plane? Xiao Xingan was also very good at the magic of transformation. He often turned into a noisy parrot, and perched and chirped on the Lali tree, playing and chatting with Lali, and was very familiar. Yes, Xiao Xingan is also in it. Lin Ke smiled. Take you to find him. You two have fun in the secondary plane. Xiao Xingan has grown up with him since he was a child. He is not only a mount, nor is he just a friend. He is more like his younger brother, just like John. In addition, Xiao Xingan's talent is extraordinary. He was born with the shackles of heaven and earth, and he even sucked out several layoffs. In the past few years, his promotion has been more stable and rapid than any of Lin Ke's other followers. Lin Ke even estimated that Xiao Xingan might be the first creature under his command to break through the legend in the future. Great, I've wanted to go out and play for a long time. When Lali heard that Xiao Xingan was also in the secondary plane, she was immediately overjoyed. Several other natural trees in the Great Wilderness Plain have grown up, and the power of purification does not lack Lali. It just so happens that the environment of the giant beast plane is relatively primitive, so it's not bad to take Lali to play. Lin Ke took Lali to the giant beast plane through the teleportation array. Since Lin Ke passed down magic and science, humans in the giant beast plane have changed to a certain extent. Expansion and occupation have become the norm. That green insect tribe has now become a large tribe spanning dozens of kilometers, and countless small tribes like the former green insect tribe have been incorporated. It's just because the giant beasts are no longer an obstacle to humans. The giant beasts are stronger than humans, and they are blessed by the mysterious field. They have always been the overlords wherever they are. But when the gods passed down magic, the giant beasts are no longer the pride of the plane. No matter how big the body is, ants can kill elephants. No matter how mysterious the domain is, magic fire can break it. Therefore, wherever the Greenworm tribe passes, small tribes bow down to them. The chief of the Greenworm tribe also became more and more powerful. However, after becoming powerful, he was not reckless and only knew how to hunt. Science was still far away from him, but mathematics inspired his intelligence. Lin Ke did not teach him the way of management, but he was good at thinking because of mathematics. Just like when solving a problem, he would think about why two completely different shapes have the same area. When it comes to management, he would also think, why is it much better to let 50 people go hunting than to directly ask 50,000 people to go out hunting? With thinking, he will also practice. How to practice? He does not know many practical methods, let alone how to get some true knowledge. However, he will explore. For example, hunting. Sending 50,000 people out should have more people, but if you calculate it according to mathematical methods, you can find that 50 people can bring back prey for 200 people. 50,000 people can only bring back prey for 5,000 people. No matter how you calculate, it's not reasonable. So, Chief Chen roughly understood why mathematics is only the cornerstone and method of science, but not science itself. Mathematics can present the reality of the world, but how to understand, analyze, and apply this reality depends on the individual. Therefore, Chief Chen knew that his goal was not to pursue the truth, but to make the tribe orderly, and then naturally there would be geniuses to pursue it. Therefore, Chief Chen became more and more obsessed with management science, which made the operation of the entire Greenleaf tribe more effective and efficient. He divided the time into 4 time periods, morning, noon, and evening, and divided the time. The sun comes out at 0, the sun is at its highest point at 1, the sun sets at 2, the moon comes out at 3, and the moon is at its highest at 4. Every day, there are only these 4 time periods. Everyone in the tribe eats when the sun sets. After dividing the time, everyone suddenly felt very convenient. Look at the sun and the moon and know what to do, whether to get up to hunt, go back to the tribe or eat. Everyone knows it. However, there are times when the sun and the moon cannot be seen. Chen was thinking about what method to use to replace the changes in celestial phenomena, and finally came up with the water drop counting. So, for several months, Chief Chen has been thinking about these contents. With his efforts, the Greenworm tribe has become stronger and stronger. While growing, it is not bloated, but much more orderly than before. In addition to Chen, Lin Ke has taught many people mathematics before. In the end, they, like Chief Chen, focused on places other than mathematics. Some people are obsessed with plants all day long. After several months of planting, they discovered the secret that plants planted with different seeds have different weights. At the same time, they invented generally equal weight objects, that is, stones, and used stones to measure the weight of all other objects. While planting more plants, planting plants also brought the Greenworm tribe a larger yield and richer variety of food. Some people are obsessed with animals and found that factors such as environment and food can affect the yield of animals, and they also invented methods of domestication. There are also people who are obsessed with the art of fighting, and they study hard and combine mathematics with battle formations. In short, whether it is the method of planting or the method of domestication and breeding, they were originally their hobbies, but because mathematics opened their spiritual wisdom, they invented the corresponding methods. Those people who were talented in arithmetic that Lin Ke had previously recruited eventually made certain achievements in their own hobbies and interests, and also gave back to the Greenworm tribe. Although no one continued to explore mathematics in the end, they also gained something from the most basic use of mathematics. In just a few months, the Green Worm tribe was completely renewed because of the construction of these people. When Lin Ke just returned to the Green Worm tribe, he clearly felt the changes in the Green Worm tribe. Sure enough, the enlightenment of civilization will definitely appear, even if I don't add fuel to the flames. Looking at everything at the foot of the mountain, Lin Ke was also very satisfied. He gave them the seeds of science and mathematics, and eventually they also relied on mathematics to enlighten civilization. The current Green Worm tribe already has some primitive society. Unlike before, it is more like some apes huddling together for warmth. But when will writing appear? Lin Ke felt that watching the growth of the Green Worm tribe would be of great benefit to him. Scientists are not physicists, at least not all of them. Scientists can also be civilization observers in the humanities and social sciences. Chapter 705 Skill Thermal Imaging. Seeing this development, Lin Ke really wanted to record it for Dahuang University. He felt that the development of civilization in this plane was also very meaningful for research. However, for now, the secrets of this plane have not been discovered, and those students may be in danger if they come. Moreover, he believed that other professors would also apply for this kind of civilization exploration, and directly apply for a new small secondary plane to experiment and observe. There is no shortage of such opportunities. On the contrary, the domain-like abilities possessed by the behemoths and the behemoth plane are more enviable. Thinking of this, Lin Ke explored the situation of the clone again. The amount of soul absorbed by the deep dark clone in the unconscious state is almost negligible. To make an analogy, it is similar to an adult eating half a meal at noon. Seeing the progress of his clone in the past few months, Lin Ke was also quite speechless. It is worthy of being an all-level clone. It is not so easy to perfect it. Is this the giant beast plane? When Lin Ke checked the clone, Lully also jumped out of Lin Ke's hand. Where did Xiaoxingyan go? Maybe he went out to eat. Lin Ke pointed outside the stone house. You go out and play. Lin Ke was going to prepare to control the clone to absorb souls. Lully didn't say anything. She was just a tree, and she didn't have the idea that she had to be accompanied by someone to be happy. It was also very pleasant to listen to the birds singing quietly from time to time. So, the emerald Lully jumped out, came to the top of the mountain, and gently kicked the tree on the top of the mountain. The tree immediately moved down a little. Lully nodded with satisfaction, then stood on the spot, and dispersed the transformation magic. Suddenly, a huge natural tree grew from the top of the green insect tribe, scattering patches of light green light. At this time, the hill was no longer inhabited, and it became a place where only gods, that is, only Lin Ke, lived. At the foot of the mountain, Chief Chen specially arranged guards to guard this place, to prevent animals from going up and destroying the stone house. Although Xiaoxingyan was there, it was impossible. At this time, Xiaoxingyan's real body was freed from the shackles of the transfiguration technique, and his body stretched out, naturally attracting the attention of the guards at the foot of the mountain. So there was another round of chaos, and Chief Chen of the Green Worm tribe announced that their god was back. In just a few months, this place has ushered in earth-shaking changes, and these changes are all from their god. Just like a child wants to share his good test scores with his parents, Chief Chen also wants to share this joy with Lin Ke. So, when he heard that the god was back and brought back a big tree, Chief Chen ran over happily. My god, you are back. Chen prostrated himself outside Lin Ke's stone house respectfully. After a while, Lin Ke came out. From now on, when people in the tribe die, they need to be brought by living people to worship me, and then cremated and scattered in the jungle. Lin Ke ordered Chen. Yes, my god. Chen did not ask the reason, but just obeyed. Lin Ke looked at Chen, whose eyes were much more lively than before, thought for a while, and then said, the members of the Green Worm tribe should recite my name silently before every meal. My name is Lin Ke. Got, Lin Ke. Chen's body was shocked, but his expression changed from dull to joyful and then excited, and then he said loudly, yes, my god. Lin Ke. They, the Green Worm tribe, knew the name of God. From now on, they must recite the true name of God before eating every time. For some reason, Chen suddenly felt moved. Lin Ke didn't know what would happen. He wanted to see what impact would be on rational thinking after believing in God. When scientists were born in this plane, would those scientists attribute the origin of the truth of the world to him? Of course, he could also gain some power of faith. Thinking of this, Lin Ke in the stone house projected his consciousness to the clone again, and began to collect souls. However, as soon as his consciousness was projected, Lali woke him up. "Brother, I found a big guy." Lali's voice was full of surprise. "It's very big." Lin Ke retracted his consciousness and raised his eyebrows. He opened the door and walked out of the stone house, and in a few steps he reached the top of the mountain. Lali's body was now completely rooted in the top of the mountain, turning into a green tree. "What's wrong?" Lin Ke asked. "Brother, enter my consciousness," Lali replied. Lin Ke immediately placed his hand on the tree trunk and immersed his consciousness in it. Lali's soul body still looked like that little girl, but at this time, Lali's soul was holding something with both hands. A tail. The owner of this tail was a snake. A snake in soul state. The snake's tail was held by Lali, but its body was desperately trying to leave here. As soon as Lin Ke saw the snake, he felt a familiar breath. Giant beast. Is this the soul of a giant beast? Lin Ke went forward to hold the snake's tail and felt a huge force. But he was not a Lali. He gently pulled hard, and the snake was pulled out. As soon as the snake was pulled out, a white symbol appeared above Lin Ke's head, forming a powerful mental impact. So, the snake became honest. "Where did you find this thing?" Lin Ke could sense that this snake should have reached the legendary level of the secondary plane. However, as an 18th level epic professional, Lin Ke could easily control a legendary beast, not to mention that the souls of the beast clan did not seem to be strong. The only problem was, this snake had a different soul from the beast clan. It's just under the mountain. Seeing that Lin Ke had knocked the snake unconscious, Lali breathed a sigh of relief, and then said, "It's very big. A very big guy. Just under this mountain? You keep its soul." Lin Ke narrowed his eyes, retreated, and stood on the top of the mountain. Just under this small mountain of the green bug tribe, there was actually a big snake hidden? Is this what it means, to be in the dark under the lamp? Lin Ke had not explored this place properly, but he did not expect that there was a snake hidden there. At this moment, Lali sent a message to Lin Ke again. "Brother, the big snake is not a snake, it is a root. The root of a big tree. The big snake is not a snake, but a root." Lin Ke raised his eyebrows and immediately looked down. Skill. Thermal imaging vision. This is a combination of thermal and optical skills, a skill jointly developed by the Geological Laboratory and Biological Laboratory of Dahuang City. This skill is very practical in exploration, so Lin Ke also learned it in case of emergency. It was really used at this time. Lin Ke's eyes penetrated the layers of soil and rocks, looking down, and his magic power was also consumed violently. Finally, deep underground 400 or 500 meters away from the foot of the mountain, Lin Ke found a strong root. Found it. Lin Ke's eyes glowed red, and he flew up, flying eastward along the direction of the root. This root is getting bigger and bigger. Lin Ke only made a rough estimate, and knew that it must be a huge monster. Chapter 706 Titan Giant Vine. No wonder he hadn't noticed this behemoth before. The environment of the giant beast plain is primitive, with trees everywhere. If he hadn't paid special attention, Lin Ke would never have thought that there was such a root under this hill. The most important thing is that it is buried very deep. Lin Ke flew all the way here, and the roots were densely packed and stretched for at least thousands of miles. This was his first time to encounter this kind of plant giant beast in the giant beast plain, so he was naturally very curious. Moreover, it stands to reason that the trees grown from these roots that stretch for thousands of miles, or even tens of thousands of miles, should be very conspicuous towering giant trees. But including Lin Ke, the pioneer exploration team of Dahuang City did not find any towering trees at all. With doubts, Lin Ke traced all the way, and it took nearly 2 days to find out. This is not a tree root at all. It's a giant vine root that almost covers the entire giant beast plain. Back to the hill, Lin Ke came to Lala's soul space, looking at the snake-shaped soul that had awakened in his hand. Lin Ke squinted. "You understand what we say?" Lin Ke looked at the snake that was squeezed in his hand with a firm tone. This snake-shaped soul was covered with green scales. It did not look like an animal, but rather like uneven bark. Lin Ke pinched its 7-inch position, and its entire body shrank into a ball, and it trembled in Lin Ke's palm, obviously very scared. But Lin Ke was unmoved, no response. The soul essence of this snake has reached the legendary level, powerful and agile. However, what made Lin Ke curious was that this snake was not a god. You know, except for Nasang, many strong men in many planes have promoted to the next step by believing in becoming a god when they grow to a certain point, without exception. Otherwise, why is Nasang's professional system so outstanding? However, the snake in front of him, although it did not condense the godhood, has reached the legendary level of soul strength and has undergone qualitative changes. This is very strange. It is equivalent to the fact that everyone's path to becoming the richest man is to make money, and finally reach a certain point and have a certain amount of wealth to be considered the richest. And this snake directly announced that it has become the richest man, but there is no corresponding property? How strange. Moreover, this snake must be intelligent and even has been spying on him for a long time. Because the roots under the mountain are extending from a very far place, and they are the kind that extend deliberately. If Lin Ke hadn't brought Lolly here to play, he probably wouldn't have found it. Okay. Seeing that the snake didn't respond, Lin Ke smiled slightly, grabbed the snake, and exited the soul space. Outside, Lin Ke still had the snake in soul state in his hand. Since you are an unintelligent beast, I will accept your physical energy. Lin Ke pointed to the hill below, condensed in his hand, and threw the snake into the sphere condensed by. Then, a huge amount of white light burst out of Lin Ke's eyes, shining on the mountain under his feet. Skill, 0 degree. Under Lin Ke's special targeting, a steady stream of energy emerged from the root 400 or 500 meters below the hill, and then gathered into his body. This energy is mighty, with a little obvious green, and it is the purest life energy. There is a lot of life energy. Lin Ke raised the corner of his mouth, and then said to the lolly next to him, it's energy, all given to you. Skill, overheat. Thus, Lin Ke became a converter, absorbing and extracting the life energy of the giant vine endlessly, and then transferring it all to Lali's body. So much. Lali's tree body trembled slightly, and the whole body emitted a faint green light, like an emerald tree. Brother, it's delicious. I want more. And watching this scene, the snake-shaped soul in Lin Ke's hand finally changed. The snake trembled and wanted to open its mouth, but it didn't spit out snake words, but spoke human words. Please stop. Respected strong man from another dimension. Lin Ke turned his head to look at the snake in his hand, and his eyes continued to spit out white light. Are you willing to speak? As he said, he stopped 2 skills. Why did you stop? Brother. The lolly tree let out a soft, unsatisfied whine, like a half-eaten lollipop being pulled out of someone's mouth. Can you give it to me? Hearing the unsatisfied voice of the lolly tree, the snake-shaped soul, which was already trembling with fear, shook its body even more. Dear powerful one, I have no intention of being your enemy. Please take me away from this devil. As she spoke, the soul state of the lolly also appeared on the tree body, sitting on the branch of her own body, shaking her 2 little feet, and staring straight at the snake in Lin Ke's hand. I want to eat. The lolly looked at the snake, licked her lips, and then simply jumped down, standing on Lin Ke's shoulder, staring at the snake's body. It's delicious. Take me away. Let me go back. The snake was originally speaking quite normally, but when it saw the lolly soul approaching, it immediately screamed. Lori, go back and wait for me. Lin Ke said to the little girl on his shoulder, who was only the size of a fist. You can't eat it yet. Oh. Lolly nodded aggrievedly, turned around and flew towards her original body. On the way, she looked back at the snake, and squinted her eyes. The snake was immediately frightened and trembled. Tell me, what are you? Lolly returned to her original body, and Lin Ke smiled and looked at the snake trapped by in her hand. I'm a titan vine. This is the information in my blood. The snake-shaped soul was relieved when he saw Lolly return. But I'm not an adult yet. Titan vine? Lin Ke raised his eyebrows, but he had never heard of this race. But, you said, bloodline? Lin Ke said with interest. How do you know bloodline? There is no such word in this plane, and I haven't said it either. Bloodline. Enlightenment of bloodline. This is the first step in the professional system. If this vine knows bloodline and also obtains information from bloodline, it should not be a life that is completely naturally born in the giant beast plane, but an Nasan life. I don't know. Titan giant vine shook its head. I just kept eating and growing, and then my bloodline appeared. Lin Ke asked, what is your bloodline? Titan giant vine, growth bloodline, which can make me grow faster, bigger and longer. Titan giant vine shook its head, but I can feel that I'm missing something. Only when I get it can I become stronger. So, I extended my body to you. I noticed it as soon as you arrived at my home, but I couldn't beat you, so I could only watch you. I also learned magic, but I can't learn math. If it weren't for that demon, you might never have found me. Titan giant vine said, and shuddered again. And Lin Ke also asked the most critical question. The territory of the giant beast tribe, is it you who created it? Chapter 707, taken as a slave. Domain. Titan giant vine was puzzled. Lin Ke immediately took out a glass jar from the space ring, which contained some light blue liquid. This is the nutrient solution containing the cells of the giant beast family. This is. Titan giant vine's tone was a little puzzled. There is my breath in it. Lin Ke nodded. Yes, this is the cell of a mammoth. Well, you can understand that this is a part of the body of the mammoth. A part of the body of the mammoth! Exclamation mark. Titan giant vine's soul suddenly flickered and then looked at Lin Ke with horror. The strong man from the other plane is so terrifying. He actually cut off a part of the body of the creature directly? Exclamation mark. Too scary. And Lin Ke knew what it was thinking from its expression, but he didn't explain. This bottle of cells was just for his own research. More corpses of the giant beasts were transported to the Great Wasteland City, where a bunch of truth researchers, animal scholars, etc. were studying. It was too troublesome to explain these to it, and it thought it was fine. The most important thing is, are you sure that the earth mammoths here have something to do with you? Lin Ke had a smile in his eyes. Yes, respected strong man. The Titan giant vine still had fear in its eyes, and replied respectfully, they were all bred by me. The Titan giant vine began to tell the story. It didn't know how it was born, but since its birth, it has been absorbing all the energy around it to make itself stronger, just like other plant life. However, since a certain day, it began to breed life. It didn't want to breed life, but it had to breed life. Otherwise, it couldn't comprehend the law and then be promoted to level 21. So, it began to give birth. Crazy birth. One by one, fruits were produced from the vines that exposed the surface, and various kinds of life were bred from them. And the appearance of those lives was related to the animals it had swallowed. If it swallowed a lion would break out of the shell in the fruit it bred. If it swallowed a mammoth would break out of the shell in the fruit it bred. In short, the Titan giant vine, which stretches for thousands of miles, finally successfully promoted to the next level with the perception of nurturing life. As a result, the giant beast plane has many more giant beasts and a tribe of giant beasts. If Nasan had not discovered this plane, then one day the giant beast plane might also give birth to a master, that is, the Titan giant vine. By then, the entire plane will become a plane owned by the giant beasts, and the Titan giant vine at the master level may also become very powerful. At least, with the Titan giant vine's body stretching for thousands of miles. Perhaps the masters of other secondary planes are difficult to match, such as the mother of Naga in the Naga plane and the sky god of Thassa. Unfortunately, Nasan is here. This new plane has no master yet, and the most powerful Titan giant vine is only at the legendary level. This plane may become the cradle of the giant beasts, or it may become a training base, but it is impossible to become the main plane. Of course, the Titan giant vine in Lin Ke's hand didn't know those things at all at this time, and it just wanted to survive in Lin Ke's hands. Let's sign a contract. Lin Ke looked at the Titan giant vine. Submit to me, and I will give you freedom. The Titan giant vine didn't know what a contract was, but instinctively felt that it was disadvantageous to it. Seeing it hesitate, Lin Ke said again, you can refuse, then your body will only become the nutrients of the earth, and your soul will also become nutrients. To this day, it is still very easy for Lin Ke to control one or two legends of the secondary plane, not to mention that the soul of this legend is still defenseless. I sign. The Titan giant vine surrendered directly. Since its birth, it has always been exposed to the law of the jungle and the law of the jungle. What it has learned and used are the most basic speed and strength. It doesn't understand any attack and defense of the soul, and has never heard of any skills or magic. In the eyes of the Titan giant vine, the magic that Lin Ke taught before was like a primitive man who used a stone spear to hit people and saw a machine gun. It's too magical. At this time, its soul was directly pulled out by the lali, which was also a principle it didn't understand. When Lin Ke took out the contract, he felt the surging breath on it, and the Titan giant vine wanted to kneel down directly. What is this? Titan giant vine's voice contained respect. It could feel that on the thin paper in Lin Ke's hand. There was a surging and grand power. This is divine power, the divine power of the moon goddess. Lin Ke replied. There was no need for a law contract, just a divine power contract should be able to bind Titan giant vine well. You just leave a soul mark here. Lin Ke handed the paper over. Titan giant vine began to check the terms and conditions of the contract one by one, and finally understood what would happen if he signed the contract. After a moment of hesitation, Titan giant vine still signed it. If you sign it, you can live, but you will not be free. If you don't sign it, you will die immediately. How to choose? However, when Titan giant vine signed the contract, it immediately felt different. The future is settled. Although it is a slave, it also has something to rely on, can learn magic, and can be promoted again. Titan giant vine is not stupid. It can naturally guess that the essence of Lin Ke's power is far beyond it, and there are more powerful beings like this. If it can learn, it will definitely be able to go further. Lin Ke was also quite happy after the Titan giant vine left its soul mark, and immediately threw out a few books. These are the books that we elementary school students must study. When you finish reading, come to me for the others. Lin Ke released the Titan giant vine soul restraint, and then said, I need to take some of your body, maybe your fruit too. Lin Ke could also let others do the research, but almost everyone in the Great Wasteland City is very busy. Even Andrew is immersed in research all day. There are many secondary planes similar to the giant beast plane, and the Great Wasteland City cannot put all its energy here. Lin Ke is also a professional on the scholar side, which is just right for improving himself, while saving manpower and material resources. Yes, master. The soul of the Titan giant vine nodded, then sank into the soil, and returned to its body. After a while, a vine broke out of the ground under the hill, and grew next to the lali tree, with a few green leaves on it. Then, the vine exuded a faint green glow, and then a green fruit emerged from the tip of the vine. Master, this is the fruit that breeds life. The giant beasts were born in this way. The Titan giant vine's voice sounded a little tired, and it was obvious that it must have consumed a lot of energy. Lin Ke walked over and caught the fruit. Master, eat the fruit, and you should be able to have the domain you mentioned. The Titan giant vine's voice was uncertain, but Lin Ke was suddenly surprised. Eat it, and you will have a domain! Exclamation mark. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 708, Subdomain Fruit. What is a domain? That is something only legends have. Many legends have two weak domains. Only when the right domain is matched with skills can it have a doubling effect. If this fruit can give people the ability of a domain, then Lin Ke could foresee that this fruit would definitely sell for a high price, and it would be the kind that is in short supply. By then, this fruit will probably be snapped up. How much fruit can you produce? How is the domain inside stimulated? Lin Ke asked the vine in front of him, with a hint of expectation in his voice. If it can be mass produced, I can give birth to one every 200 times the sun rises. Hearing Lin Ke's tone, the Titan giant vine felt a little uneasy, so he added, growing fruit will make me weak. There is a reason why the giant beasts are rare. Their mother is not very fertile. Lin Ke nodded to show his understanding, and asked, after eating the fruit, can you control the life that eats the fruit? Of course not, master. Then the size of the giant beasts has increased because of your fruit? If I eat it, will my size increase? I don't know about this, master. Then how many giant beasts are there now? Can you count them? It may take time. How long will it take you to cover the entire plane? By the way, how are you going to be promoted next? I don't know. Lin Ke and the Titan Giant Vine asked and answered, and finally Lin Ke understood. The Titan Giant Vine is only level 21 now, and is also the most powerful life form native to the giant beast plane so far. It breeds the giant beasts purely out of instinct, just like a mother who breeds her offspring, who cannot be sure whether she will give birth to a boy or a girl, what country the child belongs to, whether the child is deformed, etc. The Titan Giant Vine cannot control it either. However, Lin Ke will try to find the pattern. Well, I will build a laboratory here, and you can give me whatever I need. Lin Ke said to the vine, I will also teach you the nascent characters. Although the Titan Giant Vine has learned Lin Ke's language through eavesdropping, it does not know the characters and needs Lin Ke to teach it. Okay, master. The Titan Giant Vine obeyed everything, and even had some small surprises in its heart. It did not have much resistance to observing Lin Ke studying itself, but felt that it could take this opportunity to understand itself better. He could feel that its future promotion opportunity was in Lin Ke. It also put Lin Ke's so-called elementary school books underground and protected them with the most powerful force, waiting for Lin Ke to teach the characters and study them one by one. And Lin Ke, at this time, looked at the hill under his feet. This little bit of soil is enough. Lin Ke's body slowly floated up, and his magic power surged. He wanted to build a laboratory. The primitive guards at the foot of the mountain saw Lin Ke floating up, and could slightly sense the magical fluctuations that frightened them. They knelt on the ground one by one, and worshipped Lin Ke. Lin Ke ignored them, but focused on the soil in the hill, and his eyes burst out white light. Skill. Quicksand Hell. This is also a skill developed by a laboratory. It was originally used for attack, but it contains amazing practicality, that is, the control of soil. When the skill was used, Lin Ke could immediately feel the control of the soil. He was in his right hand, controlling the soil next to the stone house to condense together, and then rose from the ground. Boom. The hill trembled, and countless soils condensed together, and then became harder and harder, turning into several square walls. These walls combined to form a yellowish-brown house. Then, Lin Ke maintained control of the soil and slowly flew into the house. Let's build a workbench first. Lin Ke suddenly remembered a game in his previous life and smiled. Then he controlled the soil to form a platform, a table and a chair. Laboratory table. When Aofu was at level 19, he could control the soil to form buildings. Lin Ke is now stronger than Aofu was at the time, so it is easy for him to build a laboratory. Of course, compared with architects like Velen, the buildings made by Lin Ke can be described as ugly and fragile. Like Velen, when he builds a building, his body can be motionless, and he can condense various metal elements in the soil into building alloys, forming reinforced concrete easily. But Lin Ke's requirements are not high now, and this is enough for now. After finishing the simple experimental equipment, Lin Ke took out some special tools from the space ring. For example, microscopes, separators, etc. It's a bit dark. Lin Ke looked at the roof again, and a light flashed in his eyes. A series of secret characters such as bright, white light, and energy absorption were engraved on the roof, to form a simple magic circle. So, there are lighting tools. Lin Ke looked at all this, and nodded with satisfaction. It's enough to deal with it. But now is not the time to study it. Let the Titan Giant Vine learn first. Maybe after it is promoted, it can produce more fruits faster. Speaking of which, the black gold volcano demon bulls were also quite fertile. Maybe the Titan Giant Vine should be thrown to the people of Dahuang City for cultivation and breeding? Shaking his head, Lin Ke drove away those thoughts. The Titan Giant Vine is a plant, and the fruit is also relatively precious. It should be studied carefully first. If it can't be studied out, throw it to those researchers, otherwise it will be too cruel. Titan Giant Vine, let me teach you the text of this book first. Lin Ke said to the ground under his feet. Suddenly, a small seedling broke out of the ground under his feet. Lin Ke took out another set of elementary school textbooks from the space ring to teach Titan Giant Vine. This course is called Profession. It is mainly a guidebook for teaching how to become a legend and how to become a god. Lin Ke began to talk and then quickly read the words on it, and the seedling in front of him quickly absorbed and digested it. As a legend, although it is only a secondary plane, the soul of Titan Giant Vine can be said to have undergone a qualitative change, and learning is effortless. After 2 days of teaching, Titan Giant Vine has basically learned everything, and even mastered the Nasan secret text and some magic. And Lin Ke also started his own research. The benefit of not having to eat is like this. Lin Ke can completely devote his body and mind to research. Looking at the fruit in his eyes, Lin Ke took out a knife and gently cut off a piece. The shape of this fruit looks like a persimmon. The color is green, and it looks very sour. Outside the laboratory window, Xiao Xinggan's huge bird head stretched in, and the soul projection of La Li stood on his head. The two guys looked at the fruit in Lin Ke's hand, and their saliva was almost flowing down. Even Lin Ke felt a kind of attraction. Let's call it the subdomain fruit. Chapter 709. The possibility of mass production of subdomain fruits. Although the giant beasts can release domains, there is still a difference compared to the real domain. So Lin Ke named this fruit subdomain fruit. If it can break through to domain fruit later, it will certainly be great. However, when Lin Ke cut a thin slice, this subdomain fruit that looks like a persimmon suddenly gushed out rich magic from the wound. Rich life force. Lin Ke condensed an air pressure shield to lock the gushing magic, and then moved it under the microscope. The first microscope created by Nasan was left in Dahuang City, with many mysterious effects. But the one in Lin Ke's hand is not bad either. It was forged by a level 10 forger, and has various special effects such as concentration and clarity. Lin Ke controlled the magic to flow over. The traditional microscope in the previous life is an optical instrument composed of a lens or a combination of several lenses. It is a symbol of human beings entering the atomic age. It is mainly used to magnify tiny objects that can be seen by the naked eye. There are also requirements for usage. It is not enough to throw everything up. It is necessary to adjust the brightness, fix the temporary slide in the appropriate position on the stage, align the low power objective lens with the light hole, use the coarse focusing screw to adjust the lens barrel from top to bottom, observe from the side, and avoid the objective lens from touching the glass slide to damage the lens and crush the glass slide, etc. The best observation target of the optical microscope is to be sliced, etc. If a large piece of pork is thrown on it, it is estimated that nothing can be seen after being blocked by light. But the microscope here is not so troublesome. Let me see the truth of this subdomain fruit. Lin Ke said to himself, then held the arm of the microscope, condensed magic power in his hand, and continuously input it into the microscope. Skill group telescopic technique. Lin Ke's skills in the skill position are currently in the two directions of thermodynamics and optics. In optics, group telescopic technique is very practical as an observation skill, but just like the air pressure shield, it has various uses. Some people use fireballs as fireballs, while others can condense fireballs into firebirds, or enchant swords. It all comes down to the use of fire element. The same is true for thermodynamics and optics. In the final analysis, it is just the effect of physical laws. Therefore, among the optical skills, the group telescope can be used for long-sightedness, and optical skills can also be used to become invisible. Even now, Lin Ke can use it to observe the microscopic world. But, as soon as the group telescope was used, Lin Ke gathered the light element on the microscope in his hand, put his eyes close to the eyepiece, and adjusted the objective lens. At the same time, after Lin Ke's stimulation, the appearance of those magic factors gradually appeared. Normal plant cells? No. This cell wall is the same as what was found before. Lin Ke thought of the giant beasts of the behemoth tribe that he had killed before. Their cells, especially the hard cells, have obvious cell walls. This is also one of the reasons why the behemoth tribe is positioned as a tribe. And now, Lin Ke holds the microscope in his hand, and the magic of the microscope is running, naturally transmitting the information in it. The same. Exactly the same. The cell wall material, cell fluid, etc. are almost exactly the same. Lin Ke once again activated his magic power, and endless light elements suddenly rushed towards Lin Ke's body, and then turned into magic power, and poured into the microscope. Lin Ke has not yet proved the wave particle duality of light, or rather, he has not yet proved all the magic element. The light in the previous life was not the light element of today, including H2O, which was not the water element. The wind element was thermodynamics, etc. There were even many elements such as fire element, electric element, wood element, etc. While these magic elements existed, material elements such as hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium and boron also existed. It's just that Lin Ke doesn't know the principle of the existence of magic yet. To study this principle, he is not able to do it at his current level. But he has a hunch that scientist will eventually be promoted to legend by studying matter, magic, and even soul, the Trinity. The ultimate cornerstone of this Trinity may be the same as in the previous life, coming from matter, and matter is the cornerstone of everything. Of course, Lin Ke doesn't have to think too much now. Everyone says it is light element, water element, etc. So he just uses it. Don't worry about why the water element is not H2O, and don't worry about why the wind element is not thermodynamics. Use it first and solve this puzzle later. At this time, Lin Ke finally used the microscope in his hand to observe the chromosomes of the cells in the mist. The chromosomes of the subdomain fruit are indeed the same as the chromosomes of the giant beast tribe. Just like human babies, almost all human chromosomes are XX or Y, and the number is also the same, with very little change. And now, Lin Ke finally discovered that the subdomain fruit and the giant beast tribe are indeed inseparable. You must know that he had confirmed before that, whether it is the earth mammoth or the volcano gorilla, as long as they have subdomains and huge bodies, they all belong to the giant beast tribe. That is, they have 98 pairs of chromosomes, and there is no distinction between males and females. As for fertility, Lin Ke did not have time to try it, mainly because the intelligence of the giant beast tribe is like that of wild beasts, without the wisdom of normal adults of intelligent races, and it is difficult to communicate, and cannot be domesticated. In addition, Lin Ke has been here for too short a time, so there is no opportunity to observe it at present. But you can ask the Titan giant vine later. At this time, after observation, Lin Ke finally confirmed that the subdomain fruit is finally generated to breed the giant beast tribe. This made Lin Ke a little emotional. It is worthy of being another universe, another world. A strong person's words and deeds can destroy a plane, or create a new plane. Strange creatures can even breed a special tribe by themselves, and if Lin Ke hadn't interfered, it is estimated that the final ruler of the giant beast plane must be the giant beast clan, and the Titan giant vine will also become the ruler of the plane. Of course, it may take some time for the fruit to breed a giant beast, and this period of time is a variable. But no matter what, it is inevitable to obtain the subdomain. This also proves that countless treasures are hidden in the countless planes of the star world. Whether it is the Dharma medium of the phaser people in the phaser and the material similar to optical fiber, or the hair of the Naga tribe in the Naga plane, or the subdomain fruit of the giant beast plane today, the star world of the heavens does have endless treasures waiting to be developed. Then, let's take a look at what the domain is contained in. Lin Ke is now studying the subdomain fruit, just like studying the eggs that a hen has just laid. There are probably many eggs that have been incubated for a long time in the Titan giant vine, and even eggs that are about to break out of the shell. With the help of research, Lin Ke will surely be able to discover the secret of the formation of subdomains. Then, it will be the road to mass production of eggs. Chapter 710, Subdomain of Light. Lin Ke fell into a deep research, and the Titan giant vine also fully cooperated. At the same time, because the Titan giant vine was controlled, the giant beast tribe was much calmer. At least it did not continue to emit endless subdomains to suppress its own territory. Although the Titan giant vine cannot control the giant beast tribe, it is still the mother of the giant beast tribe, right? Not to mention control, influence can still be done. After the giant beast tribe withdrew the subdomain, the humans and the entire giant beast plane had a feeling. The world has changed. The giant beasts are emitting subdomains all the time to ensure that they are the only overlord in the territory, and it is also a territorial mark to distinguish each other. And humans have also emerged after the giant beast tribe withdrew the domain, especially the green worm tribe in the southwest corner of the continent. Under the leadership of Chief Chen, the green worm tribe has occupied the entire southwest region, expelled all the giant beast tribes, and integrated and absorbed all the tribes. After solving the problem of the giant beast tribe, Chief Chen led a dozen people who had been taught by Lin Ke to study how to survive. As a result, a series of things such as captivity, planting, construction, clothing, tools, etc. emerged, and each tribe is actually not simple. Some tribes have pottery making skills, some tribes make delicious food, some tribes domesticate hunting dogs. There are all kinds of troubles in tribal mergers, but they are all minor troubles. Some tribes surrender quickly, some surrender only after being massacred, and some will question the so-called god and then be knocked down by a few fireballs. Although the physique of the primitive people here is much stronger than that of humans in other planes, they can't stand the novelty of magic. Magic is used to deter those who don't question, killing is used to solve those who don't obey, and mathematics is used to attract confused people. Chen also gradually grew up in this kind of rule. And unlike other primitive tribes, they have been divided and merged many times, and the chiefs have changed countless times. Here, the green worm tribe has always been called the green worm tribe, and Chief Chen has always been the chief. Because his right to be the chief comes from God. In the green worm tribe, the most sacred holy place has always been that hill. Even several invasions of the giant beast tribe were solved by relying on the sacred bird on the hill, that is, Xiaoxingan. Some rebellious primitive people also thought about exploring, challenging, and testing, but even if the sacred bird was not there, they would be driven away by the sacred tree. In this development, a year passed. As a world with extraordinary power, under the influence of magic, physical strength, mathematics, etc., the green worm tribe quickly became a super large tribe occupying 70% of the land of the giant beast plain. Unified time, unified language and writing, unified weights and measures. At a certain time, the name of the tribe was changed from the green worm tribe to the tribe of God. The human race of the entire giant beast plain was unified. Although each place still exists in the form of a tribe, it is at least unified. This degree of unity is even far greater than many planes. You must know that Fasa was also a place where many forces were mixed before, and it was unified later with the external force of Lin Ke. Of course, the giant beast plane can also be regarded as an external force with Lin Ke's participation. However, the main reason is that as a new plane, the giant beast plane does not have many super strong people, and there are even few above level 10, and most of them are still giant beasts. Just when Chief Chen had just broken through level 15 and could fly, Lin Ke also came out of retreat. Swish, the door of the laboratory opened, and bursts of white mist spread out, revealing Lin Ke's figure. Lin Ke's face was covered with goggles formed by an air pressure shield, and his hair was also wrapped. The laboratory behind him was clean, just like the first time he entered. 36 big suns and moons, a year. Lin Ke sighed as he looked at the world outside. The big sun and moon is a time division method designated by the human race in the giant beast plane. There are 36 big suns and moons in a year, and Lin Ke has also been in the laboratory for a year. He doesn't eat, drink, or sleep, and has completely transformed into a regular life, and then studies the subdomain fruit with all his heart. This reminds him of those researchers in his previous life, who ate empty salaries, embezzled funds, and exploited students. If those professors and mentors were all engaged in research wholeheartedly, how could the level of science and technology not be improved? And after a year of exploration, Lin Ke finally had research results. He walked out and looked at the top of the mountain. Little Zingan was perched on the lali tree, resting his eyes. Little Zingan. Lin Ke called softly. Little Zingan woke up and looked at Lin Ke. Brother, have you finished your research? Well, let's try it. Lin Ke said with a smile. Little Zingan was surprised and then dived down, with a wave of fluctuations emanating from his body. Suddenly, a fiery red mist spread out from Little Zingan's body to the surroundings, covering the entire hill. Subdomain, Fire and Thunder Domain. as a phoenix and storm sea eagle. Little Zingan is not weak. After eating a lot of Lin Ke's research waste, that is, eating a lot of subdomain fruits, Little Zingan certainly also has a subdomain. The only difference from the giant beast clan is that Little Zingan's control over the laws and the strength of its own bloodline make its subdomain stronger. The range is small, but condensed. At this time, Zyro Zingan's fire and thunder domain enveloped Lin Ke, and he suddenly felt like a fish trapped in a volcano. The air was full of dryness and heat, and the air he exhaled all turned into sulfur. His body also felt spicy, fire poison, and it also had a paralyzing effect. At the same time, Zyro Zingan's body was also in a trance, and he turned into a thunder and fire elemental body, moving freely in the domain. Zyro Zingan came with all his strength. Anyway, Zyro Zingan knew that it was only a subdomain, and could not hurt Lin Ke. At this time, Lin Ke's body was also churning with magic power, and then a ball of red light burst out from Lin Ke's body. Subdomain, thermal energy domain. Subdomain, light domain. The two domains were emitted together, and in an instant, the fire and thunder domain was squeezed out. Light and heat are inseparable. As soon as the two domains appeared, Lin Ke immediately felt that he was in control of all the element nearby. He looked at Zyro Zingan, stretched out his right hand, and clenched it hard. Suddenly, the body of Zyro Zingan, which had been transformed into an elemental body, reappeared. Two subfields. Zyro Zingan's eyes burst into surprise. Can there be two subfields? As we all know, there is usually only one field. Of course, 10 is fine, 100 is fine. Lin Ke laughed. Zyro Zingan's eyes suddenly flashed. However, you must first understand the principles. That is, you need to learn mathematics, physics, biology and chemistry, and become a scientist, and then stop. Brother, I really don't understand mathematics. I'm just a bird. Chapter 711, Son of the Plain. There is no way. Little Zingan has tried it before. Later, he said that it was just a bird, at most a little big, and it couldn't learn math at all. Birds only have a few functions, such as being used as mounts. But the function of birds is definitely not to solve math problems. Therefore, Little Zingan only worked as a phoenix, and later worked as a storm sea eagle. It really can't follow the path of humans. Little Zingan himself said that it should be considered a monster, not a race of intelligent life, so it asked its brother Lin Ke not to embarrass it. Lin Ke also said helplessly at this time, "Lucky, learning math is good. That person. Brother, I'm hungry, I'm going out hunting, bye." Little Zingan broke free from Lin Ke's subdomain, and turned into a meteor and flew away. A being above level 15 would still be hungry. It's clear that he doesn't want to learn. Lin Ke was quite helpless, and then the next moment he looked at the lali tree on the top of the mountain. The soul of the lali was sitting on the branch, with two little feet shaking, looking at Lin Ke and Little Zingan and smiling. However, when she saw Lin Ke's eyes, Lala's body froze. "Lali, you are not a child anymore." Lin Ke slowly stepped into the air, and landed next to the lali tree. "Oh." Lali suddenly screamed and pointed behind Lin Ke. "Look, what is that?" Lin Ke stood in front of the tree in the air, looking at Lali motionlessly with a smile on his face. Seeing Lin Ke's indifference, Lali blushed. "Brother, I don't want to learn mathematics. If I learn it again, my soul will collapse. Your soul is very strong. I promise that you will not collapse after learning it, but your soul will become stronger." Lin Ke said with a smile. Children don't want to learn mathematics, but they will find out after they grow up that, although mathematics is not practical in many cases, it can exercise the brain and thinking. Of course, Lin Ke will let Zyro Zingan and Lali learn it. Many warcrafts grow slowly, while the intelligent ones grow fast. The most important difference is wisdom. For example, a dragon may grow naturally for 800 years to become an adult dragon with at least level 10 strength. But if a dragon studies and exercises, it may become a level 10 professional in a few decades or even a few years with good talent. This is what learning brings. Unfortunately, forget it if you don't like to study. Lin Ke shook his head. Whether it is Zyro Zingan or Lali Tree, they don't have to worry about their lifespan or survival. Xiao Xingyan's Phoenix and Storm Eagle bloodline, and Lali Tree's natural tree bloodline, can bring them great benefits. Brother is the best. Lali jumped down and kissed Lin Ke and then hurried back to her body, fearing that Lin Ke would change his mind. Lin Ke smiled helplessly, and the next moment he looked into the distance. A figure was galloping in the distance. It was Chief Chen. Chief Chen has broken through to level 15. Chief Chen galloped over, saw Lin Ke's figure, then stopped and landed 1 kilometer away, walked over step by step, went up the mountain, and then knelt down. My god. Chief Chen looked up at Lin Ke, his eyes full of awe. The stronger he is, the more he can feel Lin Ke's strength. At level 15, he became an elemental body, but he could also feel Lin Ke's strength more. This kind of strength is all round. In terms of physique, Chief Chen could feel that Lin Ke was definitely not an elemental body, but a physique far superior to his. In terms of soul, Lin Ke's soul was vast and solid as a rock. Chief Chen did not even dare to feel Lin Ke's soul or Lin Ke's level. In terms of strength, this was the most powerful one to crush Chief Chen. Chief Chen could feel that Lin Ke's power was complex and powerful. Mathematics, magic, and the body could only be regarded as a part of Lin Ke's power. You know, everyone in the God's tribe can basically only delve into one direction of power, either mathematics, magic, or pure body. But Lin Ke was different. My god, you finally came out of seclusion. Chen said respectfully. Chen, you finally broke through level 15. Lin Ke's eyes were full of praise. In less than 2 years, Chen's strength from level 8 to level 15 was already considered very talented. Think about it, Lin Ke himself can't improve that fast. But thinking of this, Lin Ke's eyes suddenly moved. Every plane has a plane core. At present, the plane core that the King of Gods Zenata stole from Andrew was absorbed by Lin Ke, and Lin Ke became the plane son of Nassim. A plane core may be an item, a weapon, or a life. Some can be used, such as the core of the Lord of the Rings plane, which may be the supreme ring. Some cannot be used, such as the prehistoric Buzzhow Mountain. As for life, it becomes the son of the plane. Nassim's plane core allowed Lin Ke to have the first 3 bloodline body in history, and also possessed a talent beyond the top talent, which is an absorbable plane core. The plane cores of other planes are missing, but like the father plane, Lin Ke estimated that the god of the sky is the plane core, or was used by the god of the sky, so the god of the sky became a god above the god, that is, the master level. As for the Naga plane, it is also possible that the mother of Naga absorbed the plane core. So far, no other plane cores have been found, especially those of artifacts. But now, looking at Chen in front of him, Lin Ke has an idea. Before, he thought that the core of the giant beast plane might be the Titan giant vine. After all, the Titan giant vine directly gave birth to the existence of the giant beast tribe. But after careful thinking, he found out Titan giant vine might not be, because the Titan giant vine is more like a seed accidentally dropped by an unknown strong man in the star realm, and then it took root in the giant beast plane. Or simply, some other plane exploded, and a seed drifted in through many difficulties. Anyway, Lin Ke now speculates that maybe the giant beast plane should not be called the giant beast plane. Maybe it should be called the green worm plane. Because the son of the plane is Chen, and Chen is in the green worm tribe. If there were no giant beast tribe, and no Lin Ke, Chen, as the son of the plane, would have grown all the way to become the god of this plane. Or, Chen obtained the core of the plane during his time as a chief, and absorbed or used it, so he gained a powerful talent. But no matter what, Lin Ke now doubts that Chen is the son of the plane. 2 years to reach level 15, this is considered fast in the secondary plane. Lin Ke has been practicing for more than 10 years, since he was 6 years old, and he is only at level 18. And Chen, like Lin Ke, is also very busy, and has to deal with many things at any time. Of course, Chen is not as good as Lin Ke. After all, he probably only has one bloodline, and he has also achieved an elemental body. At this time, Chen heard Lin Ke talking about his level, and he also said happily, "My god, I not only broke through to level 15, but also achieved a magic body, which can become a magic body. Haha, that's called an elemental body." Lin Ke laughed and said, "From now on, you are also ahead of the entire plane." Lin Ke knew that Chen now relied entirely on the way of magic to break through and was considered a level 15 fire magician, not even a magician. However, it was also ahead of the entire plane. Chapter 712 Return to Nassim. My god, please teach me the path of magic for the human race. Hearing Lin Ke's judgment, Chen immediately knew that their gods must know the path after level 15. Who knew that? Lin Ke shook his head and smiled. Chen, you have to know that you can explore it by yourself. What others teach may mislead you. This is a newborn plane, and there are countless paths to take in the future. Maybe magic will reach its peak. Maybe you will embark on the path of God, or maybe you will become a professional. Maybe it will be as primitive and wild as the main plane of Qs. Maybe it will be ruled by one god like the main plane of Feljima, or maybe it will be as powerful as the main plane of Nassim. But no matter what, when there is no way ahead, the intelligent life race will always use their wisdom to open up a new path. However, if someone guides where the road is, the intelligent race will think that there is only one way ahead. This plane has Titan Giant Vine and Giant Beast Clan, as well as the magic and mathematics passed down by Lin Ke, which will have an impact on the plane, but the impact is limited. If, in addition to the subdomain fruit, a magnificent civilization was born in the Giant Beast plane, that would be what Lin Ke would be happy to see. Go out of your own way. Chief Chen nodded, not quite understanding. Although it is difficult, what Lin Ke said does make sense. Only by going out of your own way can you truly control your own power. Walking in the path of others, you can only see the scenery that others have seen. My god, what should our god's tribe do next? Completely destroy and kill the giant beast tribe? Chief Chen asked another question and explained the current status of the giant beast tribe. Living in the southeast corner of the continent, it can be said that it has been forced into a corner by the human race. Most other areas are the territory of the god's tribe. And this is also because of what Lin Ke said at the beginning. Lin Ke asked Chief Chen to gather the human race as much as possible, and the giant beast tribe was just used as food. How to gather the human race? Many areas on the continent are occupied by the giant beast tribe. Once the domain is opened, it means that the territory within the domain is the territory of the giant beast. Many human races have never migrated since birth. Even if they migrated, they might be wiped out, and few people succeeded. The final result is that many human race gathering places are actually in the territory of the giant beasts. Although the giant beasts will not actively attack humans under the influence of the Titan Giant Vine, they can still be expelled. Those that cannot be expelled will be killed by the tribe of God. Therefore, most of the giant beasts are now driven to the southeast corner. It's not that they can't be killed, but Chen has doubts in his heart. Should the giant beast tribe really be slaughtered? He didn't know how he came up with this doubt. When the tribe of God was still the green worm tribe, he wanted to skin the earth mammoth. But on the day of skinning and pulling the tendons, he felt empty in his heart. After that, he had no time to think about why he went there, because magic, mathematics, tribesmen and other factors pressed him, and he kept moving forward. However, when the giant beast tribe could no longer threaten him, he felt that kind of emptiness and loneliness again. He just felt that if there were no more giant beasts on the continent in the future, and only ordinary wild beasts or magical beasts could be seen, it would feel quite strange. It was like the lack of delicious salt in the big meat soup, and the lack of soft and sticky skin on the roasted bird legs. It felt like the world was missing a color. In short, he wanted to kill all the giant beasts, but he didn't want to kill all the giant beasts. So he came to ask Lin Ke. After hearing Chen's doubts, Lin Ke smiled and looked at Chen's eyes gently. These choices and results, in fact, have already had the answers in your heart. Chen's originally confused eyes suddenly showed enlightenment. Lin Ke smiled and nodded, and continued. There are many choices in the future of this plane. Sometimes these choices need to be decided by your entire tribe, sometimes by a group of wise men, sometimes by ordinary people, and sometimes by a leader who makes decisions. But it should not be decided by outsiders. Chen was at a loss. But God, you are I come from the Nassim plane. Lin Ke shook his head. In the future, I will wait for you in Nassim until the day when you feel that the human race of your god's tribe is qualified to set foot on Nassim. God also comes from the plane. There was a slight fluctuation in Chen's eyes. How did that sentence go? Sincerity can be felt. If it is just a high god, perhaps only awe can be gained. But Lin Ke's approach made Chen's eyes more moved and admired. Just like the mother of Naga is not the god of Naga. The god of the sky is just the god of the sky, not the father god of the sky or the father of the sky. This is the difference. My god, I understand. Chen almost cried, with sobs in his voice. As a god, Chen knew exactly what his god could do as his wisdom improved, because as a chief, he could do a lot of things. He could manipulate the tribe of gods, exploit the tribe of gods, and destroy the tribe of gods. In the end, the gods chose respect and sincerity. Lin Ke looked at Chen's moved expression and waved his hand. I will return to Nasang again next, and it will take some time before I come back. If there are any problems that cannot be solved, you can tell them. Lin Ke pointed to the branches of the Titan giant vine not far away, then pointed to the lali tree, and finally pointed to the sky in the distance, meaning the little luck there. As a legend, the Titan giant vine can basically settle things in this plane. The lali tree and little luck also have their own functions, but their biggest function is to contact the great wasteland city and Lin Ke. My god. Chief Chen was a little reluctant. No need to be like this. Lin Ke smiled. In the future, I hope that your plane can follow me. After speaking, Lin Ke waved to the distance, and a black shadow quickly flew over. It was the deep dark clone. There were fewer and fewer fights here, so Lin Ke could only send the deep dark clone to other planes, where people were fighting all year round to absorb more souls. Recalling Deep Dark, Lin Ke sent a few messages to Zhao Xingyan and the others, then activated the plane key, and returned to Nasang. Only Chief Chen, who was lost, and the Lolita with half of her head popping out of the Lolita tree were left. Finally away from mathematics. The Lolita was excited. Underground, the Titan giant vine, who was reading a middle school textbook, felt a little regretful. In the future, no one will discuss and study with it. As plant life, the Titan giant vine has been exploring the way forward for years to gain knowledge, while the Lolita tree was forced to be fed with a lot of knowledge by Lin Ke. Therefore, their attitudes towards knowledge are completely different. Nasang, the great wasteland city plane. Recently, the sixth city under the lava territory has been built, but in this new city, many teams are marching at this time. These teams are walking through various pedestrian streets, which seems to be very lively, and it can be roughly seen from the color and style of their clothes. The content of the parade is Hawks and Doves. The fan title activity has started. If you haven't received it yet, remember to go to the book friend circle to receive it. Chapter 713 The Final Phantom City. Resist war. We need to get in touch and understand first. Only a conciliatory policy can bring peace. No bloodshed. No sacrifice. Remember Schindler's List? The voices of each parade team were very loud, but the official arrangement prevented the Doves and Hawks from meeting each other. Otherwise, they would have to fight. The parade is just for appeal, to let everyone know something, to make everyone prepared, and to make everyone choose. Therefore, all cities under the rule of lava territory can hold parades, as long as they report in advance. Of course, the parade cannot be mixed with commercial and political matters, such as parades to promote support for someone to be the city lord, or to promote that a certain product is very useful. Ideological matters can be spread. Everyone can also understand the official meaning, so they are very cooperative. The parade at this time is aimed at both the Doves and the Hawks. Why is the ideological struggle between the two factions intensifying? War. Endless war. The Nasang community of fate that Lin Ke had previously established by uniting the major forces of Nasang has taken shape. The Abyss Council was established, headed by Emperor Wumian, and supplemented by other dominant masters. All systems were copied from the Great Wilderness Council of Lava Territory. The previous economic alliance has been completely merged into the Abyss Council. Similar to the United Nations, the Black and White Kingdom, the Holy Life Alliance, the Everfreeze Council and the Deep Sea Mermaid Kingdom form the dominant seats, and the Far West countries, the Southern Peninsula countries, the Endless Ocean Trail and the Undersea Forces form the legendary seats. Other systems are roughly copied, such as the voting system and the agenda system. At the same time, there is cooperation in many fields such as military, economy, science, etc. Now, the original tense atmosphere between the three superpowers has disappeared and has tended to be calm. What was it before? I wish that the other side would disappear the next day. If it weren't for Emperor Wumian to maintain the stability of Nasang, it would have been pushed over one by one. And other masters also tease and provoke the Black and White Kingdom from time to time, or plot to weaken the power of the Black and White Kingdom, such as the previous Warcraft war between the Azan territory and the Lava Swamp. But now, with the enemy at hand and the variable of Lin Ke, Nasang has united. One of the most important united forces is the War Alliance. The distance between the two superpowerful main planes, Nasang and Honduras, is shortening, and some small-scale wars have already started. The secondary planes within the radiation range between the two main planes have already come into contact. Just as the Sun is moving forward with a group of planets such as Mars and Venus, Nasang and Honduras are also moving forward with a group of secondary planes, and they are destined to meet each other. This is the attraction between the two main planes. And with the encounter of the secondary planes and the start of the war, Nasang is inevitably a little turbulent. Therefore, the Hawks and Doves, the two ideological systems originated from the Great Wilderness City 100 Schools of Thought Conference, also spread throughout Nasang. Now, these two ideas are called mainstream ideas, squeezing out the messy ideas of the Marquis of Tulip and the Marquis of Giant Sword. And today, the final Phantom City is in the parade of the traveling Hawks and Doves. Of course, it is obvious that the Doves are in an absolutely weak position. There were also 100 parade teams, but the Doves parade teams combined probably had less people than the Hawks 10 teams. War is for peace. One punch is better than 100. The strong prey on the weak, the law of the jungle. The Hawks teams were the most powerful. After all, under the education in the Great Wasteland City, everyone was basically intelligent and would not naively think that a weird plane like Honduras would give Nasang flowers and hugs. Flowers with eyeballs and hugs with bloody mouths were about the same. Therefore, most people still supported the war, at least in the early stages. When Lin Ke appeared, the parade was almost over. However, he did not pay attention to the parade. After all, no matter how the parade was, it was just an appeal and propaganda, not the I can't breathe and 0 yuan purchase of the ugly country in the previous life. Therefore, Lin Ke paid more attention to the city itself. He visited all the new cities that had been built in the lava territory. The swamp city had acquired a natural environment, and the sunlight city was peaceful, tranquil and novel. Each city had a gorgeous sense of magic, nature, and science fiction. Today, this city is the last one, named Final Phantom. All the buildings in this city have a layer, which is paved with photo stones, and connected to the fiber optic transmission broadband from Phaser. As a result, every building is a big screen. Office buildings can play commercial things on the wall, and residents can play beaches, deep seas, grasslands, etc. Therefore, the whole city is full of phantoms. Moreover, all the streets here are pedestrian streets. You can walk anywhere, and there is no need to react to traffic accidents caused by mounts hitting people. What if you want to go far away? The king of electromagnetism, Orth, has designed countless floating vehicles, and the mounts that have passed the driver's license and have the final Phantom City driving permit have formed the city's long-distance transportation. Citizens only need to raise their heads or hands and wave their ID cards to summon the parked vehicles or mounts in the sky, then say the destination, swipe the card to pay, and enjoy the journey. Therefore, the final Phantom City is also called the pedestrian street city and the taxi/mount city. Lin Ke came to the last city, looked up at the taxis and mounts that were swishing in the sky, and felt a feast for the eyes. The minimum level of the mounts is required to be above level 10, and they may not feel tired, even if they fly for 10 days without sleep. In addition, the assessment of the driver's license and the driving license makes the flight of the mounts very safe. As for the maglev taxis, that's even more so. You know, the final Phantom City also has city spirits. Although it is not as familiar and skilled as the magma dragon Magnus controlling the Great Desert City, the probability of traffic accidents such as two cars colliding is almost zero. Thinking of this, Lin Ke took out his ID card, looked up and waved at the sky. Suddenly, a circular taxi that was originally driving slowly swooped down from the sky and stopped beside Lin Ke. The people around Lin Ke naturally made way a little. If they didn't make way, the circular taxi would also release attraction and directly attract Lin Ke into the warehouse. However, most pedestrians would avoid it because they love the city they are in and naturally would not let the taxis waste energy. Lin Ke also got into this spherical taxi. This is a single person taxi. If you are a family, you can also call a 2-person, 3-person, or multi-person taxi. When I got in the taxi, a mechanical voice sounded. "Hello, sir, may I ask, Zizizi?" The original mechanical voice turned into a slightly flattering voice after a burst of radio waves. "Your Excellency, the Supreme and Powerful Lord Lava, the humble Charles is here. The monthly ticket is about to expire. Please give me a monthly ticket." Chapter 714 Inspection and Experience. In front of Lin Ke, a phantom of an octopus's soul suddenly appeared. This is the city spirit of the final phantom city. Lin Ke just used his ID card, so the city spirit naturally sensed it. What the hell? Lin Ke is here, and as one of the city spirits that run the city management, he has already sensed it, but why doesn't he come out to see it? The octopus city spirit, who is familiar with secondary school political science, came immediately. It has to come. What if someone comes to inspect? What if it, as a city spirit, does not come to meet them in the first place and leaves a bad impression? Thinking of this, the octopus city spirit's voice became more flattering. "Lord Lava, do I need to call the management team?" "No." Lin Ke waved his hand. "You go and do your work. I just come to take a look and have fun." "Take a look casually?" The octopus city spirit's eyes turned. "Does taking a look casually mean a private visit?" "Okay." Lin Ke glanced at the octopus city spirit and knew what he was thinking. He said again, "I'm just here to play. I didn't come out in the secondary plane before. You go and do your own thing." At this point, the octopus city spirit immediately remembered the rumors about Lin Ke, so he nodded and said, "Okay, I'm leaving now." So the octopus city spirit immediately dissipated. Lin Ke then began to look at the taxi. There were basically not many devices inside the taxi. It was all voice control and voice communication. Go to them all. Just go to any one. The nearest one will do. Lin Ke said to the empty space, "By the way, please make the shell completely transparent, the kind that I can see outside, but outsiders can't see me." Thanks to the development of material science, countless resources from NASA and the secondary plane were sent to the material laboratory of the Great Wilderness Tower. If it were in the previous life, it would be difficult to sort out the piles of samples, let alone experiment one by one. But with a special lab assistant, here, the efficiency of sorting and organizing is far better than in the previous life. So, materials like this one, that are transparent on one side were made. There are also materials similar to tempered glass, materials similar to fur, materials similar to sand and stone. For example, a kind of fruit has nothing to do with plants inside, but is sand and stone, which contains a lot of silicon element, and can be directly refined without much filtration. So a glass factory directly contracted 10 acres of land to grow this plant. It saved transportation costs and filtration costs. There are many discoveries like this, but Lin Ke suddenly thought of an important question. Are all the important laboratories going to be thrown in the Great Wasteland City? You know, there are no laboratories in other cities now. They are all ordinary cities, with factories and shopping malls at most. But on second thought, Lin Ke denied the decision to disperse the laboratories to various cities. Things like laboratories are better protected when they are concentrated. The most important thing is that after they are concentrated, the strong will also be concentrated in the Great Wasteland City, which is also better protected. Otherwise, once the Great Wasteland City falls, other cities will be similar, with the difference of being ahead or behind. Whoosh, there was a slight sound of wind outside, and the maglev taxi was moving very fast, but Lin Ke could still see the scenery of the final Phantom City. In the sky, and between high-rise buildings, taxis were driving back and forth on the maglev lanes at a very fast speed. You know, maglev taxis, pedestrian streets, and photostone exterior walls are the three characteristics of the final Phantom City. However, around the maglev lanes, there are also flying mounts shuttling back and forth. to meet the needs of various passengers. Really good. Lin Ke looked at the scenery outside and admired it slightly. This place is like a city in an inn, colorful, and each building has its own characteristics. Some families have transformed the exterior walls of their homes into beach scenery, while some families have turned the exterior walls into flowers and grass. Lin Ke could feel that the leader blood in his mind was floating slightly. This is because he felt the happiness and joy of the residents, meaning the happiness index is very high. In just 1 minute, Lin Ke also came to the nearest shopping mall nearby. The maglev taxi drove from the air to the ground and looked for a place to park. After Lin Ke got off the car, the maglev taxi flew up again, waiting for the next person to call. Looking at the number on the ID card again, the price of this trip is about 3 coins, that is, 3 yuan. The cost is calculated based on the distance and time, which can be said to be very affordable. Moreover, there is no traffic jam, and traffic accidents have not occurred so far. Even if it happens, with the various designs and materials of the maglev taxi, unless it is hit by the skills of an epic level strongman, there is no need to worry too much. After getting off the car, Lin Ke looked at the mall again. It was close to the end of the get off work day, and the mall was very busy. Many people pushed maglev trolleys, loaded with full items out of the mall, and then walked all the way home. There were also citizens who were in a hurry, so they directly hailed a maglev taxi and left with their things. Walking into the mall, it was also very lively. The latest explosive beads. Mixu Ice Castle welcomes you. 69% off. 69% off. All summer clothes are only 69% off. No 499. Dahuang Hot Pot. Is a 499th guest here? The overwhelming shouting and hawking came, and Lin Ke thought he was back to the big mall in Dahuang City. But after a closer look, many of them were branches. And inside this mall, the largest one is Bicycle Field. Lin Ke raised his eyebrows, and then instantly understood what it meant. The ground of the final Phantom City is only a pedestrian street. Although you can run on the street, you can't ride a mount, let alone a bicycle. After the new type of mount, the bicycle, became popular, many people actually have the habit of riding bicycles. It is convenient, fast and cheap, at least cheaper than raising a mount. Therefore, this bicycle field should be a place dedicated to riding bicycles, just like basketball courts and football fields. Lin Ke couldn't help but sigh that, as long as it can make money, someone will do it. No matter which world, businessmen are always smart. After a walk, he drank a bottle of Coke, ate a roasted milk fruit, and drank milk tea, while eating hot pot. Finally, Lin Ke visited several other places in the final Phantom City, and then left here with satisfaction. At present, the cities that have been built in lava territory are indeed very good. Even in a certain sci-fi degree, it is far better than the cities in the previous life. Very good. Back to the Great Wasteland City, came to the meeting room at the top of the Great Wasteland Tower. Lin Ke put away the lava scepter he had just used to teleport, and sat quietly on the lava throne with his eyes closed. At this moment, his body was changing. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 715 Breakthrough to Level 19. The magic power in Lin Ke's body rolled, and it surged to the blood in the soul space in waves. Leader blood. It's going to break through. Lin Ke whispered with his eyes closed. Yes, as a professional leader, he was very satisfied after inspecting his territory and city. And after being satisfied, he touched the opportunity for a breakthrough. Now is the time to break through. Suddenly, Lin Ke opened his eyes, and his eyes burst out a foot of white light. Leader skill, public opinion. Before Lin Ke reached level 15 and became a regular creature, he could easily distinguish the malice among millions of citizens. At this time, Lin Ke could bear the thoughts of countless people in all the lava territories. Suddenly, the mighty thoughts roared and poured into Lin Ke's soul space, and on the way, they also swept and swallowed a part of the power of faith. However, at this time, Lin Ke had no time to explore why he swallowed the power of faith. but carefully experienced the public opinion he felt. Lava, this confession to Miss Sophia must succeed. Great Lord of the Great Wilderness, please bless me to make money from gambling this time. I must not score a goal. I must draw Andrew's leg. I must stand out. I must impress my parents and everyone. Hey, a new movie? Forget it. Let's just play it badly today. Countless public opinions gathered, mixed with some prayers of faith. Lin Ke was also in a state of profound perception. In this state, the leader bloodline branches attached to the leader in Lin Ke's soul space grew a few inches upwards. Breakthrough. Level 19. The light in Lin Ke's eyes slowly disappeared, and then he slowly exhaled. At the same time, a new idea came to his mind. Skills don't necessarily have to be used for fighting. His skill public opinion is used to collect public opinion. But at first he didn't think about how to use it. But at this time, feeling the effect of the power of faith, he suddenly thought, can the power of public opinion be used to release divine arts? Even becoming a godlike existence? Just now, when Lin Ke used public opinion, he accidentally swallowed the power of faith, but it had no effect on him. If he absorbed it directly, he might be transformed into a divine life little by little. It would be troublesome to transform into a divine life in the end. But since there is no effect when absorbing it with public opinion, maybe he can learn some divine arts. You know, some divine arts are also very useful. Of course, this is just an idea, and it is not the most important thing at the moment. Thinking of this, Lin Ke took out the lava scepter, gently hit the ground, and whispered, Magnus. Immediately, Magnus's soul appeared in front of Lin Ke. Master Lin Ke, what do you want? Magnus appeared and said respectfully. Nothing big happened this year. Lin Ke had just returned from the final Phantom City, and it looked peaceful. Lord Lin Ke, nothing happened in the Great Wasteland City. Magnus replied, then hesitated for 2 seconds and said, but it seems that the front line is not optimistic. Front line. Lin Ke raised his eyebrows. Which front line are you talking about? There are many so-called front lines in the Great Wasteland City, because the development of secondary planes often encounters wars. But, Honurus main plane. Magnus said. Sure enough, the front line at this time can only be the main plane of Honurus. Something happened on the front line. Lin Ke frowned when he heard it. Is it serious? Are we at a disadvantage? It shouldn't be. Is the main plane of Honurus really powerful? Lin Ke immediately said, if John is not sleeping, let him come to see me. Sleeping, eating, etc. at their level are just entertainment and are no longer physical needs. Whether it is elemental life or divine creatures, they are no longer needed. Magnus tilted his head to feel it, then replied, John is busy in the city hall, so I will ask him to. City hall? Then I will go directly there. Lin Ke waved his hand, and then input the magic power into the lava scepter. The next moment, he appeared outside the city hall. The building of the city hall was brightly lit. Ordinary people of course have to go home to sleep and rest, but some professionals naturally don't need to rest. Although they can also choose to go back to rest, those who can get to the top are no longer the kind of people who are entangled in eating, drinking, playing, and playing. In their eyes, completing some things and realizing some ideals may be more important. Therefore, even if they are given rest time and rest days, they don't want to rest. Perhaps, only those who really love this job can do this. Seeing the brightly lit city hall, Lin Ke was also full of emotion. In the previous life, after the extreme exploitation, everyone wanted to rest with pay, eat, drink and have fun with pay. However, here, after the extreme respect and care, everyone doesn't want to rest and doesn't want to waste their lives. Lin Ke used an optical skill to hide his body and then walked into the city hall. There are many small spaces inlaid inside the city hall, so it looks very spacious. The hall alone may be as big as 7 or 8 squares. The hall on the first floor is basically dark, and only a few offices are still working overtime. However, there are many bright rooms in the offices above the second floor. Lin Ke is not in a hurry at this time, but looks around. The 5 offices on the first floor are all accountants in the finance department, all ordinary people who are sorting out reports one by one. Lin Ke took a look and found that most of them are about the budget for war appropriations. A small part is research and development expenditures and people's livelihood expenditures, and a large part is infrastructure. Going up, there are some accountants, engineers, architects, directors, screenwriters, and the like. Some of them are arguing in a small conference room about the adaptation of novels into movies. Some are thinking hard about architectural drawings, and some are checking tax project expenditures. Very busy. Very busy. Lin Ke can feel that if these professionals had not issued magic crystal subsidies, they probably wouldn't be able to hold on. But Lin Ke can also feel the changes in the past year. A year ago, although the city hall was busy, it was not so busy. This year, the new things are the main plane of Honduras, the 100 Schools of Thought Conference, and the Great Wilderness 5-year plan. At this time, the finances and talents are tight, and these staff members are very responsible. Perhaps we should make up for it in material terms. We can't let people sweat, bleed, and cry. Lin Ke thought silently in his heart. Then he came to the top floor, John's office. There was a fierce quarrel inside. It's time to strike. We can't delay any longer. No. The economy of Great Wilderness City can't support it. Those college students are the future of Great Wilderness City. Chapter 716 Skills Take Root. Lin Ke stood at the door and listened to their quarrel. John's office was very spacious because it had to store many documents, books, and photo stones. At this time, judging from the sound, there should be Judge, Diana, Mathematician, Laplace, Worker, Watson, and Architect, Velen inside. It seems that they are discussing something. Lin Ke did not go in, but hid his breath outside and listened. It's not that he doesn't trust them. The people inside are all his followers. If he doesn't trust his followers, then there's no point in playing. But now they are discussing things, and Lin Ke's entry will inevitably affect them. So it's better to wait outside. Now that the whole nation is waiting for war, few people support the Doves. Those college students are very passionate. Watson's voice was full of energy. Only blood and fire can temper a steel like will. Diana's voice was also loud. Our laws are protecting them. They haven't grown up yet and can't stand on their own. Although Diana was a latecomer, she was quickly accepted by the old followers. At this time, she spoke from the perspective of the development of Dahuang City. The law protects them, but our enemies won't protect them. Laplace said in a cold voice, when Lord Link was 6 years old, and I was 8 years old, what legal protection did it have? Okay, you don't have to mention your past as a follower of Link. Velen was helpless. One of the things Laplace is most proud of now is that he joined Link and became a follower of Link. Many times when they went to drink juice and wine in private, Laplace would always brag about it. You know, his current status, to some extent, has surpassed his father, the Marquis of Ice. The Marquis of Ice has always been proud of him. Don't argue anymore. At this time, John also said helplessly, the students of Dahuang University are indeed not experienced enough, but it's okay to see the scene on the front line. After John spoke, everyone else fell silent. In a sense, whether it was Garrows or Furlong, whether it was Antower or Butler Billy, or Aka, Orphan alike, they didn't spend as much time with Link as John. If everyone in the world wanted to betray Link, everyone present believed that John would be the last one. In addition, John had been taught by Orph since he was a child together with Lin Ke, and Lin Ke also taught him hand in hand. Many of John's thoughts and methods were deeply influenced by Lin Ke, so he also had a high prestige among his followers. After they finished talking, Lin Ke also pushed the door in and removed his invisibility. Master Lin Ke. Master, why are you back? Master Lin Ke. Seeing Lin Ke, several people saluted in surprise. Lin Ke had informed John before going to the giant beast plane to do research, so they knew what Lin Ke was busy with. Now that Lin Ke appeared here, it means that the research has produced results. I heard that you have finished discussing. What is the situation at the front now? Lin Ke got straight to the point and didn't say much. Whether it was what he heard during the inspection, what the Magma Dragon Magnus said, or what he just heard, they all pointed to one thing. That is the front line. The matter on the front line. John pondered for a moment, wondering where to start, and after a while he said, "It started because His Majesty Wumian and his men decided to fully disclose the news to the people of Nassau, and I also agreed to the Great Wilderness, and then there was nothing else important." Lin Ke understood when he heard this. When the decision was made to disclose the news, it meant that the battle on the front line was tight and a large number of soldiers needed to be recruited. At this time, it was unnecessary to hide it from the people. "Tell me about the situation on the front line." Lin Ke's eyes also became serious. At this point, it proved that the battle on the front line was indeed tight, and it also meant that this was the judgment of Emperor Wumian and his men. The fact that they could judge this result showed that the situation on Honura's side might not be that simple. "The front line is like this." John began to narrate, and the others supplemented from time to time. After listening, Lin Ke also felt the sense of urgency. A year ago, the front line was at most a few secondary planes connected, and they could not even test each other. At most they had some contact. At that time, there were also strong people on both sides who wanted to infiltrate each other's world to deepen their understanding, but they did not succeed. But now, there are already more than a dozen secondary planes bordering each other. More than a dozen secondary planes. No wonder Emperor Wumian and his men made such a decision. It turned out that the war preparation stage was over. Since the farthest secondary planes radiated by the two main planes have met, let's fight. "Are there any legends and master level injured at present?" Lin Ke asked. "To measure the opponent's combat power, just look at whether your high-end combat power and top combat power are injured. Legends and gods, plus the lofty master. Such existences are injured, which proves that the opponent is indeed very strong. You know, this is only in the war preparation stage and mutual contact stage. For someone like Lin Ke, with his current means and background, not to mention the Great Wilderness Tower, aircraft carriers and annihilation staff outside, even if he holds the Thunder Wrist Powerball, he may be able to deal with professionals below the Starlight level without losing the upper hand. Above level 15, whether it is elementalization, lawization, or rulization like Lin Ke, it is basically difficult to die, unless it is an attack containing the power of law. With the background and endless means of the strong men above level 21, the possibility of injury is very low, let alone death. At this time, John nodded solemnly to Lin Ke. "Yes." John said, "The elder of the Tataru conifer family of the Everfrizz Council has used the innate skill of the conifer family, routing, and is currently stationed as a bridgehead for the frontline Grey Sand Plain. One of the secondary planes on the front line, Grey Sand Plain. An elder of the Tataru conifer family actually used the routing skill." Lin Ke narrowed his eyes and realized what happened on the front line. Although the Tataru conifer family is not the most powerful conifer family, it also has 3 legends. As for the skill routing, it is the reason why the conifer family can be ranked as one of the 5 seats of the Everfrizz Council. It can only be used once in a lifetime. In simple terms, if the conifer family, which originally acted normally, uses routing, it will permanently take root in the same place and become a real tree, losing its independent ability to move. However, the price they pay is that they can draw a lot of energy from their roots and leaves just like ordinary trees. The conifer tribe is not very strong in combat, but they are always present in the 5 seats of the Everfrizz Council because of this innate skill of their tribe. Skill, rooting. Happy New Year everyone! Exclamation mark. By the way, I'm asking for money in the new year. Chapter 717 Subdomain Oral Liquid. Think about it, why do the conifers always have seats in the 5 major councillors of the Everfrizz Council? To put it simply and directly, which family would not like that? They would directly send out 7 or 8 elders to surround your home and take root. When you encounter good resources, take root directly. When you encounter a good place to live, take root directly. How can you play then? Of course, the most important thing is that the intelligent beings of the Everfrizz Council also experienced a battle when they separated from the Holy Life Alliance. Just like the human race of the Black and White Kingdom retreated to the Abyss while fighting, the intelligent beings of the Everfrizz Council also retreated to the Winter Plateau, and then thousands of conifers used the routing that can only be used once in a lifetime. Use your life to protect the Winter Plateau and keep the forces of the Holy Life Alliance out. The Winter Plateau can become the core of the Everfrest Council because of the sacrifice of these thousands of conifers. Therefore, the conifers are respected in the Everfrest Council. But then again, what can you do if you don't respect them? The core of the Everfrest Council is guarded by tens of thousands of conifer people. Not to mention how many are still alive. But the conifer people who are still alive can just turn around and surround the Winter Plateau. Who dares not to respect? Who dares not to give a seat? If the birth rate of the conifer people is not too high, it is estimated that the holy life at that time must have been from the conifer people. At this time, a legendary elder took root on the front line. The grey sand plane guarded by that elder is exactly the plane where the black crystal produced by their family is produced, so that elder chose to take root. John also added, well, how is the 100 Schools of Thought? Lin Ke began to ask the next thing. The 100 Schools of Thought conference has been held for a long time, and Lin Ke wants to know how it works. When it comes to the 100 Schools of Thought conference, the expressions of several people changed from solemn to relaxed. This means that the news from the 100 Schools of Thought conference is good news. John said with a little relief. More and more people are participating in the 100 Schools of Thought conference now, and it has initially turned losses into profits. In one sentence, Lin Ke knew the current status of the 100 Schools of Thought conference. It is running smoothly. You know, the positioning of the 100 Schools of Thought conference was not to end in a few days or months, but to be held forever. Because although ideas can stand for thousands of years, they can also be updated. Each generation has its own ideas and theories. It's just that Lin Ke was surprised that it could turn losses into profits in just over a year. It's good to turn losses into profits, but you should also pay attention to the fact that profits and losses are not important. It's more important to develop people's thoughts and ideas. It's also good to enrich our culture, Lin Ke explained. Although turning losses into profits is important, if you put the cart before the horse, wouldn't it become the kind of public intellectuals and scientific research cancer in the previous life? Now everything hurts the liver, and besides. Lin Ke came to John's desk. John's desk is very large, with many books and papers on it, which looks extremely messy. You know, people who don't read books always stack their books and papers neatly, which is full of beauty. This kind of messy books usually appear like this, because there are too many books and they need to turn over and record them at any time. Lin Ke didn't mind. He went to the table and took out a series of bottles from the space ring. In these bottles, there were some slightly glowing liquids. This is the subdomain oral liquid I developed. Lin Ke briefly introduced. After drinking it, it can make people have a subdomain related to the law they have comprehended. The subdomain is a domain that is not as strong as the formal domain. It's probably like this. As he said, Lin Ke's eyes lit up slightly, and a layer of domain suddenly spread out with him as the center. Subdomain. John and the others were shocked, looking at each other in disbelief. This feeling is really a domain. A domain that can only be mastered after becoming a legend. Laplace was excited, but he offset this pressure at once. This subdomain. Can it be mass produced? Although it is a subdomain, since the oral liquid has been made, Laplace also manages many laboratories and research rooms, so he naturally knows what mass production means. No. Lin Ke shook his head and pointed at the 20 bottles of subdomain oral liquid. These need to use the subdomain fruit produced by the Titan giant vine. One fruit can make about 10 bottles. This thing has set up a laboratory to study what substances can be used to replace the subdomain fruit. The Titan giant vine seems to be unable to reproduce, or in other words, the Titan giant vine should be a unique individual that can reproduce parthenogenetically, but cannot reproduce offspring with other life forms. At least for now, this is what Lin Ke and the Titan giant vine are doing. However, you can try to clone it and see if you can clone it. In short, Lin Ke will leave other things to them. Lin Ke is not lacking in feedback on the scientist path. Now, what he lacks is feedback from the leader and lucky bloodlines. These subdomain oral liquids, give them to those who need them. Lin Ke believes that John can handle it. As for whether the person in need is his own or the buyer, it doesn't matter. For example, John basically sits firmly in the rear and coordinates in the middle, so he doesn't need a subdomain. Okay. John nodded and solemnly accepted the subdomain oral liquid. Lin Ke nodded and continued, you just said that you would arrange students to go to the front line. John and the others nodded in agreement. After all, Lin Ke was following them outside just now. Let me lead the team this time. Lin Ke said, after we go there, you can arrange some people to send them back. Everyone was shocked when they heard this. Master, you are going to? John was nervous and held Lin Ke's arm. Master Lin Ke, aren't you going to stay in the rear? Diana also frowned. Yes. Lin Ke nodded slightly. My knight needs a breakthrough, but riding and training cannot break through the legend. No legendary knight was trained on the training ground. After listening to Lin Ke's words, everyone knew that this was inevitable. But fortunately, one difference between Nasing and his previous life is that the emperor in his previous life went to the battlefield and the hail of bullets killed him if he was not careful. But Nasing is different. For example, if the Emperor Wumian leads the army in person, then it is estimated that even if everyone dies, the Emperor Wumian will not die. Therefore, although it is dangerous for Lin Ke to go to the front line, it is not particularly dangerous. Moreover, everyone knows that Lin Ke has a talent. If he can break through a few more times, it will be a good thing. If Lin Ke becomes a legend in the future, then even if Nasing is destroyed, Lin Ke can take the Great Wilderness Plain and escape to the Star Realm and hide. Therefore, everyone has no reason to refuse. Chapter 718 Garros and Antar. Okay, I'll make the arrangements. John also knew that Lin Ke had made the decision, so of course he wouldn't refuse. Lin Ke nodded and then communicated with several people. John's affairs in government affairs, Diana's affairs in the court, Laplace's affairs in the research institute, and Velen's affairs in architecture. At Lin Ke's point, as long as the knowledge he had come into contact with in his previous life, he can now completely recall it. Even if there are some things that he has not deeply understood, he can draw inferences and think about them in this life. For example, in the law, he didn't know a few laws in his previous life, but through some daily news, through the knowledge and experience he learned, he can completely deduce the entire constitution, civil law, criminal law, etc. So, although it was just a brief exchange, John and the others still gained something. After making arrangements and setting the time for departure tomorrow, Lin Ke left. Looking at Lin Ke's leaving figure, several people were reminiscing. With Lin Ke in Dahuang City, there is a magic needle that stabilizes the sea, and no matter whether it is internal or external troubles, it will not cause any waves. Anyone can be replaced, whether it's Rene Descartes, or Li Guanmobi or John, they can all be replaced. But Lin Ke cannot be replaced. After coming out, Lin Ke returned home. Lin Ke was probably busy at the forest hut, John was at the city hall, Lali Tree and Zio Zingan were in the giant beast plain, and the house was empty. Lin Ke sat for a while, and finally went to the villa next door. Garros and Antao were watching TV at this time, and they were not going to sleep. Antao was also enlightened, but she was too old. Although she was enlightened successfully, her talent was poor. So far, she is only a second level scholar, and her level may not be as high as some students. But her health is much better than before. Garros is even better. He was in good health and used to help Lin Ke to conquer the secondary plane at any time. But recently, he probably rested, so he watched TV at home and accompanied his wife. Knock, knock. Lin Ke knocked on the door. They felt Lin Ke's breath and were naturally very surprised. Little Lin Ke is here? My son is here. Antova and Garros hurried to open the door, and they welcomed Lin Ke into the house with joy. Lin Ke, have you eaten yet? If not, I'll have someone make it for you. What do you want to eat? Or do you want to drink Gila milk? Do you want some lucky clover? You loved drinking Gila milk when you were a child. Antova muttered while ordering the servants to do things, without giving Lin Ke a chance to resist. Although slavery has been basically eliminated in Dahuang City now, there are still many jobs such as servants and nannies. Garros and Antova have never done housework since they were born, so naturally they have to hire servants. Auntie, Lin Ke originally wanted to say that he didn't need to drink milk anymore. He had no choice when he was a child because he was growing up, and now Lin Ke doesn't need it anymore. But he didn't refuse in the end. Garrow sat back on the sofa and smiled foolishly. While smiling foolishly, he touched the two small mustaches on his upper lip and looked at Lin Ke with satisfaction. And Tower pulled Lin Ke over to sit down and looked at Lin Ke carefully with a dazed look in her eyes. Little Lin Ke has grown so big and his eyes are really like your mother. But Tower realized something was wrong as soon as she opened her mouth and quickly pinched Lin Ke's face. You are not cute when you grow up. It's better when you are a child. Your face is chubby and so easy to pinch. However, Garrows, who was originally grinning next to him, couldn't help but be silent, and Lin Ke also sighed slightly and didn't say anything. Hey, don't worry, little Lin Ke, remember? Fueling is very powerful later. And Tower touched Lin Ke's head. There are not many people in the world who can touch Lin Ke's head like this and call him little Lin Ke. Yes, Lin Ke, you are my son, you should do great things. Garrows also spoke at this time, whether it is your mother or Xiao Naomi, we will. Halfway through, Garrows suddenly stopped again, and the scene fell into silence again. You know? Lin Ke finally sighed again. He originally wanted to hide it from Garrows and the others, but he didn't expect that he was still guessed. Xiao Naomi has been away from home for more than a year, and logically, she should have come back. With how familiar Garrows and the others were with Lin Ke, they should have guessed that Xiao Naomi was in trouble. And Tova could no longer hold back her tears and said, it's all my fault. It's all my fault for letting Xiao Naomi go out to gain experience. As Xiao Naomi's biological mother, and Tova was naturally the most uncomfortable. After comforting her for a long time, and Tova stopped crying, the three of them were silent again. After a long while, Garrows sighed, patted Lin Ke's shoulder, and looked into Lin Ke's eyes. We are very anxious, but we know that we can't affect you. Lin Ke, you have been independent since you were a child, and I owe you all these years. If you can save him, save him. If you can't save him. At this point, Garrows couldn't help but be a little speechless. What if he can't be saved? Only death. Xiao Naomi and the others are just trapped in Honduras. When we start the war, I can ask the astrologer to find their traces and rescue Mom and Xiao Naomi. Lin Ke said in a deep voice. Although the two regions are slightly adjacent to each other, the laws and rules between them have not been handed over yet. Even the astrologer, DBS can't find them. But then again, even if they are found, there is no way to bring them back. The higher the level, the more obvious it is in the foreign land. Just like the light in the dark night, the light of fireflies is weak, but the light of torches is bright. If it is stars and the moon, it will be very dazzling. Like the sleepless emperor, it is even more like the sun shining on the stars in the sky. Although Lin Ke is not the sun, judging from his law comprehension and his rule body, it is estimated that he will be very conspicuous after entering Honduras. This is the sense of existence. Therefore, the only way is to wait for the two main planes to blend with each other. After the fusion, you have me, and I have you. At that time, whether it is a torch or a star, it will become less conspicuous. After hearing what Lin Ke said, Garrows just patted Lin Ke on the shoulder again. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. You have been great over the years, or in other words, you are the most outstanding in the entire history of ASEAN. You are our pride. Yes, little Lin Ke. And Tao's eyes were still a little red. Relax more. Xiao Naomi, that naughty kid, has been smart since he was a child. He is not afraid, even if he goes to Honduras. And Tao knew that such words were false. After all, that was another main plane. How could he survive by being smart? On the one hand, although she missed her daughter very much, on the other hand, she didn't want to put too much pressure on Lin Ke. Don't worry, I know my limits. Lin Ke was in a heavy mood. Finally, Lin Ke came out of his house and went to the Great Wilderness Tower. He sat quietly on the lava throne, looking at the round table and chairs in front of him, looking at the night outside, silent, until a figure appeared. Chapter 719 Sophie's music. Sophie? Lin Ke looked at Sophie not far away. His eyes moved slightly. Sophie was wearing a dress with a slender and graceful figure, but her face was still made up, as if she had just finished a concert. Over the years, Sophie's singing voice has conquered the entire Nasang and has also spread to other secondary planes in the astral world. and not only in Dahuang City, but also in other secondary planes under the command of other Nasan masters like Sophie. It is not an exaggeration to say that Sophie's current fame is comparable to that of a god, and it is a Nasan version of a god. If Sophie was not unwilling to take the path of faith to become a god, otherwise she might have broken through to Xinghuan god. But in Lin Ke's place, Sophie is still the little maid she used to be. In other words, if it weren't for Lin Ke, Sophie might have become an old lady now, and given birth to 7 or 8 children. Lin Ke changed Sophie's life. Sophie now repays Lin Ke with her life. But, sorry, Sophie, I'm in a bad mood today. Lin Ke said softly. Master, what do you think of me? Sophie smiled, and the iceberg beauty instantly turned into a sweet maid. Sophie slowly walked over, and sat on the armrest of Lin Ke's lava throne. She did not make any other movements, but gently held Lin Ke's hand, looked at the sky outside, opened her mouth slightly, and began to hum. There were no lyrics, just pure music with a melody. The song was full of a sense of tranquility and serenity. When singing, the surroundings were completely silent, and everything was silent, leaving only Sophie's singing. Sophie did not use any skills, nor did she evoke the power of the law at all. But Lin Ke thought it was very nice. He had also listened to many concerts, not only Sophie, but also some other singers. But their singing must have skills, such as one of the most common skills of, sing is beautiful. There was no emotion, all skills. Lin Ke didn't know how to evaluate it, he just thought Sophie sang very well at this time. The originally heavy and anxious mood was gradually soothed. Lin Ke closed his eyes, and felt it slowly. After a long while, Sophie slowly stopped. Are you feeling better? Sophie whispered. Lin Ke opened his eyes. Much better, thank you. I'm your follower. Sophie glanced at Lin Ke unhappily. If you feel bad, I believe that singing can give you strength, just like many years ago. Sophie's eyes were bright. Master Lin Ke, we have His Majesty Wumian, the 5-colored dragon mother, the moon goddess, the sun god, and many masters and legends. The situation will not be worse than Azanen at the beginning, right? How bad was Azanen's situation at the beginning? There was no leader, only 2 powerless women and Lin Ke, the 6-year-old heir of the nobility. Even though the people of Nasan are generally precocious, 6 years old is still too young. But Lin Ke still held on. What about now? There are countless strong people above Lin Ke, and there are tall people to hold up the sky when it falls. Lin Ke was prepared to completely lose Azanen at the beginning, let alone now. Maybe it's just like the previous life. When I was poor, I was not afraid of anything. I was not afraid of anything. I would fight anyone who dared to invade me. After I became rich, I was afraid of this and that and considered too much. I didn't dare to fight. Master Lin Ke, we believe in you, and we always believe in you. Sophie bent down, gently held Lin Ke's face, and then kissed Lin Ke on the lips. After the lips parted, she looked into Lin Ke's eyes. We are your followers. We have always stood behind you. If necessary, we can also stand in front of you, so you should be more courageous and fearless. After a long time, Sophie stood up and slowly walked to the balcony. Standing on the balcony, she looked back at Lin Ke. If you want to listen to the song, I will always sing for you. After saying that, Sophie flew straight away. Today, Sophie has reached level 16, and is famous all over the continent. Or rather, almost all of Lin Ke's followers are famous all over the continent. At the beginning, the system guided Lin Ke to recruit these followers with very good talents. Now, the talents of the followers have been highlighted one by one. For ordinary people, such as Butler Billy, the efforts of dozens or hundreds of years are not as good as the efforts of Lin Ke's followers for more than 10 or 20 years. This is talent. Thinking of this, Lin Ke couldn't help but sigh. Indeed, he is not alone now. Behind him, there are a group of followers who can already stand on their own. There are countless legends, gods, and masters in front of him. There is nothing to be afraid of. Just do it. Thinking of this, Lin Ke looked towards the balcony again. I saw a girl standing quietly on the left side of the door. Fuck. Lin Ke was horrified and almost screamed, but he reacted immediately. Dark girl. How long have you been here? Lin Ke didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This kid, why has he been eavesdropping here? Do it. The dark girl said briefly, and rushed over in an instant. During this time, the god's clothes on her body turned into element and dissipated. Why don't you ask for my opinion? I'm in a bad mood. Can you respect? Break it. Be gentle. I'm only level 18. Oh. Damn god's physique. On the Great Wilderness Tower, there was a person talking to himself, and a person's silence. At the bottom of the Great Wilderness Tower, a handsome uncle was shopping. He looked up from time to time, and said in amazement, as expected of a knight, "This charge skill. Oh. I forgot that the little guy is a forger. This chaotic cloak critical hit is good." At the handsome uncle's arrow, a golden beetle was looking at him with contempt, and then rustled as if saying something. "It's okay. It's nothing important. Wait for the young man to relax. If you stretch it for too long, it will break." Oh. I remember that the pippa was invented by him, right? He is quite skilled in plucking, twisting, wiping, and picking. He is worthy of being an artist. While chatting with the golden beetle, the handsome uncle looked around the square under the Great Wilderness Tower, looking like an idler. The Great Wilderness tonight is still prosperous. Pando enrolled, and it was the Great Wilderness University that he, his mother and Uncle Mark dreamed of. At the beginning, after Uncle Mark made growth hormone under Pando's unintentional reminder, their two families became closer and closer. As a single parent family, although Panduo was often beaten and scolded by his mother, he was independent and sensible since childhood, and naturally knew his mother's selfless dedication to him. He loves his mother very much, and is very grateful to Uncle Mark. Finally, last year he was admitted to Dahuang University with excellent results, and became a student of the second Dahuang University. He entered the energy department of the School of Physics, majoring in heat and light. His dream is to become a follower of Lord Lin Ke. Perhaps, becoming a researcher at the institute or a professor at Dahuang University in the future is also an option. And today, he was selected to visit the front line. Experience the cruelty of the plain war up close. Chapter 720. Organic members. Others entered the Great Wilderness with 20% effort and 80% talent. But Panduo entered the Great Wilderness with 90% effort and 10% talent. He thought he was stupid. But no matter how stupid he was, he knew that this opportunity was very rare. Which man in Nasan didn't want to become a knight? Many male college students of the Great Wilderness University would go to the Knight Academy for public classes or elective courses in their spare time. Moreover, Panduo was a loyal member of the Hawk faction. His experiences from childhood to adulthood made him know that blind kindness would only make himself and his mother pay the price. Who can be kind? Either people who live in a peaceful society, such as the citizens of the Great Wilderness City now, or those young masters and young ladies who are well protected. Before coming to the Great Wilderness City, Panduo robbed beggars and wild dogs for food. Because he could eat more outside, he could eat less at home, and then give the food to his mother. His kindness was only given to his mother. Of course, he doesn't have to do it the same way as before, but his experiences all along have made him sneer at the idea of reasoning with kindness and smiles instead of fists. So, when he heard that he was selected to go to the front line to experience and record, Panduo, who was studying his homework in the dormitory, was suddenly excited. Andrew's leg. Why can you go, Panduo? Master. I call you Master Panduo. Please let me go. Someone in our dormitory actually got a quota. I heard that the teachers were discussing this a long time ago, but I didn't expect it. Panduo's other 3 roommates were also doing their homework. When they saw the list on their student cards, they immediately wailed. The battlefield. The front line. 99% of the boys in Dahuang University want to go there. Who knew that in the end it would go to Panduo's family? Exclamation mark. The 4 brothers in the dormitory shared hardships together, but in the end, someone became a dog owner? Exclamation mark. Haha. I'm the son of the plain. Panduo was very proud at this time. I will definitely become a follower of Lord Lin Ke in the future. His mother thought he was smart, since he was a child, but this kind of smartness turned into a sword dealer in the eyes of his roommates. Come on. If you can become a follower of Lord Lin Ke, I will do a handstand and shit. Master Panduo, remember to help me in the future. Becoming a follower of Lord Lin Ke is not just about being strong, but also about making contributions. Panduo felt that every dormitory would have a live treasure, a bootlegger, a stuffy person and a sword dealer. It's just that their dormitory is not like other dormitories. Among the 4 people in their dormitory, only he is the most normal, a normal and serious person. Hey, I'm too lazy to tell you. I'm going to find teacher Welia. I'm going to the front line the day after tomorrow. Maybe I can meet a follower of Lord Lin Ke. Haha. Panduo didn't want to do his homework anymore, so he chose to go out to find his class teacher. After finding the class teacher took him to the department head. The department head took him to the executive vice president. The executive vice president took him to the president. In the end, a total of 10 people were brought together. Only 10 people were selected from the entire Dahuang University. On average, each of these colleges is estimated to have an average of 1 hand and 1 foot. Those who can be selected are not the chosen ones, but are randomly selected after various inspections. There is only one person in the School of Physics, and that is Panduo. After some teaching and explanation, they were let go. Because everything that should be taught has been taught, such as plane travel studies, secondary plane survival manual, application of language proficiency, etc. The 10 people who were selected have all taken relevant courses and have good grades. Of course, each executive vice president also came down to explain that the students who were selected must say a lot of good things, especially good things about their own colleges, such as teachers are dedicated and students love to learn, and they can appropriately mention the lack of funds in the college. After listening to what his executive vice president said, Panduo didn't quite understand, because it made it seem like some big shot was going to the front with them. Come on, it's easy for big shots to go to the front, isn't it? How can they team up with a group of students? But Panduo didn't say much, just agreed to this, and then began to make various preparations and read various books. He thought that, since they were going to the front, the more preparations they had, the better. The other 10 children were similar. They were distributed in families of all classes. Some were rich, some were poor, but they all loved learning. Someone also organized a gathering of 10 people, got to know each other, and then agreed to go to the photo stone to record. One person recording a direction. When they came back, they could show it to their classmates. And in this tense preparation, the departure day arrived. Panduo packed a simple bag, only a few necessary clothes and some high energy food, water, etc. Then they teleported out of the school and went to the Great Wilderness East Station. There were 3 teachers leading the team. One was a professor from the Knight Academy, level 19, Rock Knight, and the other 2 were level 18 professionals from the School of Physics and the School of Chemistry. 3 powerful teachers led the team. They could not lead them to fight on the front line, but they could still protect them from a distance and watch the battlefield. So, an event that should have been grandly promoted and carefully prepared was carried out in a hurry. The team reunited, and the 3 teachers led the students to the teleportation array of the Great Wilderness East Station. After the teleportation array flashed for a while, Panduo opened his eyes. Dear students, we need to transfer stations twice to reach the Grey Sand Plain. We are currently in the capital, the Abyss. The level 19 teacher did not speak, and the level 18 male teacher did not speak either. The other level 18 female teacher spoke. The Abyss has 897 layers, which is only the current number. We are only in the first layer of the Abyss. This female teacher is an 18th level, organic synthesis member, who can use some organic substances to synthesize corresponding organic substances with skills. Their food basically comes from her. Panduo observed that, when the female teacher introduced the 10 students with a smile, the Rock Knight had a serious face and said nothing. The other male teacher, however, listened to the female teacher's explanation with interest and looked around as if he was here for the first time. I don't know if it was an illusion, but Panduo felt that every time the male teacher looked at the female teacher, the wizard robe she wore would accidentally split a little in the middle, revealing a deep groove and 2 white spots. Maybe it was an illusion. Panduo shook his head. After all, it was normal for a commentator to dance around. Yeah, normal. At the beginning of the month, also the beginning of the year, I'm asking for a wave of monthly tickets. Please. Open bracket close bracket. Chapter 721, University on the Winter Plateau. Unfortunately, Pando and his friends did not come to the abyss for tourism, but only for a transit. So after a quick look at the abyss, everyone started to move to the winter plateau of the Everfrozen Court. The winter plateau is a huge piece of ice, and the dust and ashes on the ice have formed the plateau for tens of thousands of years. The capital of the Everfrozen Court is on the ice, and the entire winter plateau is engraved with countless secret texts and magic circles. The solidity here is not inferior to the abyss. At this time, outside the Everfrozen Court, in a row of buildings outside the circle of coniferous trees, a teleportation array lit up, and Pando and his friends walked out. There are people coming and going here, and it is the only teleportation point to the winter plateau, so there are many people. Students, please look at the coniferous forest outside. At this time, Pando's female teacher also began to introduce, and her tone was very respectful. The female teacher pointed, and everyone looked out. Coniferous forest. Students, who among you knows the origin of this coniferous forest? The female teacher's voice was full of respect. 10 students were silent. None of them were the type to show off. Finally, a girl spoke up. Tens of thousands of years ago, the mythical era ended, and the ancient era began. All races fought each other, and countless strong men of the coniferous tree people used the rooting that could only be used once in a lifetime. The girl's voice was also full of respect. Just like the bloody road connecting the abyss and the Iron Ring Marquis family, the coniferous forest of the Everfrost Council also represents the efforts made by the ancestors of the mythical era. All those who participated in the nobles' deliberation in the Black and White Kingdom need to walk through the bloody road. And here in the coniferous forest, every time the Everfrost Council opens a council ceremony, all participating families need to offer sacrifices here. If a large force denies the efforts made by its ancestors and martyrs, then this large force cannot stand for eternity. Although the Everfrost Council can only be ranked below the Holy Life Alliance and the Black and White Kingdom in massing, there are naturally reasons for its eternal existence. Pando looked at the coniferous forest with respect. Although they belonged to different forces, he especially respected the ancestors who sacrificed voluntarily. When they were thinking carefully, they heard a voice nearby. These two-legged deer are talking hypocritically here again. They are obviously two-legged deer from the Black and White Kingdom. Not far away from them, a giant ice crystal deer laughed at them, and there were more than a dozen giant ice crystal deer behind him. They looked like a group of dandy boys. As for calling them two-legged deer, each race has its own name. For example, in the eyes of humans, anyone who walks upright on two legs is named human, such as conifer people, werewolves, dwarves, wild boars, etc. But what about other races? Conifer people think that they are coniferous trees, while humans are rootless and leafless trees, and wild boar people are wild boars, rootless and leafless trees. In the eyes of wild boar people, they are wild boars, and then humans are human-headed pigs, and werewolves are wolf-headed pigs. It's just that humans are the most respected in Nassen now, so most people follow the human race's statement. Calling these dozen ice crystal giant deer two-legged deer is completely insulting, similar to the white pig, black ghost, yellow monkey in the previous life. And facing this provocative tone and language, all 10 students frowned. Panduo noticed that the most powerful, Rock Knight, teacher also opened his eyes, and the female teacher's face turned cold. Only the other male teacher not only did not have any angry expression, but was looking at the ice crystal giant deer with interest. Interested? Panduo was immediately confused. But at this time he didn't have time to think about it, because his classmates spoke up. Nassen is now family. We are all Nassen's destiny. Isn't it not good for you to say that? A boy from the School of Economics frowned and said. His voice was loud, but his tone was also full of politeness. They are in a foreign land, and they are from Dahuang City and Dahuang University. They should be more careful about their words and deeds. At the very least, they must not bring shame to the Great Wilderness University and the Great Wilderness City. Otherwise, when people come and go here, they will spread the news that the students of the Great Wilderness University are very barbaric and the people of the Great Wilderness City are unreasonable. Even if it will not have much impact on the Great Wilderness City and the Great Wilderness University, they will be very uncomfortable, isn't it? The young ice crystal giant deer who just spoke took 2 steps forward, and with a height of nearly 2 meters, he stood condescendingly and confronted Panduo and the others. The distance between them was less than 2 meters. At this distance, they, as professionals, can reach in an instant. For example, Panduo, as an energy major, can condense powerful heat energy in his hands in an instant, rush forward to grab the throat of the ice crystal giant deer in front of him, and then twist it hard. Although he has never killed intelligent life, Panduo has fought with many wild children and beggars since he was a child, so he is naturally not afraid of head-on confrontation. Of course, he has reservations, let alone killing. Even beating can't be done. If they did, with the current level of information, the news all over the world the next day might be students from Dahuang University commit crimes in a foreign land. He looked around, and the other students probably thought the same as him, and they all held back. At this moment, the mysterious male teacher of level 18 who had not said a word from the beginning to now spoke. "Are you students from Glacier University?" As soon as the young male teacher spoke, everyone looked at him involuntarily. A dozen ice crystal giant deer in the distance looked at each other, and the leading ice crystal giant deer was about to say something rude. "You this." But the 2-legged deer couldn't say it. He always felt that, if he said this, his identity as the heir of the family would be lost, and even his family itself would be in great danger. This is a feeling. The ice crystal giant deer shook his head and drove this absurd feeling out of his mind. What can a small noble of the Black and White Kingdom do to him? Not to mention the little nobles, even the Earl of the Black and White Kingdom could not reach out to the Everfrizz Council, not to mention that the various forces in Assen were united at this time. How could anyone embarrass him and his family for a little thing? His family is a powerful family with an 18th level epic master. He is even the pride of the Glacier University. Who dares to touch him? Not to mention the Earl of the Black and White Kingdom. Even if it is a marquis, it would be painful to touch him. So, reason suppressed that unrealistic feeling, and the ice crystal giant deer decided to insult these little nobles civilly. Insult these arrogant humans. "You 2-legged deer, you know we are from Glacier University, why don't you come and kneel down and believe in us?" The ice crystal giant deer snorted, and a large circle of intelligent life that was originally in a hurry stopped and looked over here. No matter which world or which race, watching the excitement is always one of the natures of intelligent life. In the winter, the weather is getting colder and colder. Do you need me to boil a bowl of steaming gilla milk to warm your body? Oh, by the way, dear readers, I'm a little short of monthly tickets at home recently. Do you have any? If you have any, can you please vote for me? I want to see what these monthly tickets are that can make the handsome author at home write every day. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 722. I'm here. The school is here. What are you afraid of? What? Students from Glacier University? I heard that all of them are descendants of big families, and their status is extremely noble. That's right, everyone in Glacier University is a proud child. Outside the teleportation array, intelligent life gathered. Who doesn't like to watch the fun? And who are the two sides of the confrontation? On one side are more than a dozen ice crystal giant deer, and the leader is still the proud child of Glacier University. What about the other side? Judging from their expressions, temperament, movements, clothes, etc., they must be humans from the Black and White Kingdom, and at least a baron or a viscount is possible. Because these humans are obviously wearing clothes produced by the Great Wasteland City, this kind of fashionable and simple clothing is not completely popular. In addition, they can use the teleportation array, and their families have some financial resources. The most likely one is a small noble on the border between the Black and White Kingdom and the Everfrizz Council. However, now that the construction of the Nassen community of fate has made the entire Nassen unprecedentedly united, the status of the Black and White Kingdom has also risen. In terms of the strong, even if the Emperor Wumian is not counted, he can crush the other two superpowers. In addition, the Black and White Kingdom also has the Great Wasteland City. Now, there is not only the Great Wasteland City, but also other cities in the lava territory. In addition to the military power of the strong, other aspects of the Black and White Kingdom, such as culture, art, economy, commerce, technology, industrialization, etc., have been unprecedentedly strengthened because of the existence of the Great Wasteland City. Originally, when Lin Ke was young, the Black and White Kingdom was inferior to the Holy Life Alliance. Because the Black and White Kingdom only had Emperor Wumian and a group of masters, and even a group of masters, such as the Duke of Hurricane, were hidden. There were only 3 masters on the surface, plus some legends. In fact, the Black and White Kingdom was not as good as the Holy Life Alliance in all aspects. What was the result? Lin Ke suddenly appeared and used various things to attract a lot of hidden, star-traveling, and secluded strongmen, and also created a lot of new professions, new industries, and new careers. In just about 20 years, the Black and White Kingdom, from the top strongmen to the mainstays to all walks of life, and then to the bottom, basically showed a crushing trend against the Holy Life Alliance and the Everfrizz Council. Therefore, many intelligent beings are unbalanced. In the past, they looked down on some ethnic groups, such as the non-noble ethnic groups in the Black and White Kingdom. What about now? Even in front of the most ordinary civilians in the Great Wilderness City, the intelligent beings of the Holy Life Alliance are like primitive people, and the intelligent beings of the Everfrizz Council are even more like dogs. Therefore, facing the ice crystal giant deer of the Everfrizz Council and the human race of the Black and White Kingdom, the onlookers are excited. It's a rare confrontation. The intelligent beings watch the leading ice crystal giant deer take 2 steps forward, raise his head high, and the huge deer crown cast a shadow in the sun, and then said, "To leg deer, what? Don't dare to speak." The tone is extremely arrogant. On the other side, 10 students clenched their fists, even the 2 female students in the team. Don't go too far. The boy from the School of Economics who had just spoken snorted again. I remind you that you are the strongest, only a level 7 professional. Then, the boy from the School of Economics revealed a little bit of his aura, and the other 9 students did the same. Among the 10 of them, the lowest was only level 5, but the highest was level 8. The lowest was Panduo. After all, Panduo was not young when he entered school, and his family was poor since he was a child, so his level could not keep up with people of the same level. Level 8. This is a level of an 8-level professional. Some onlookers were also professionals, and they exclaimed at this time. And the person at level 8 was the boy from the School of Economics. He claimed to be the highest level of the team, and naturally took on the role of maintaining the reputation of Dahuang University. Oh my god. They are still so young. I feel like they are not even as old as my grandson. It seems that this must be a noble young master or young lady from a Viscount family. Yes. The coniferous forest here is the most spectacular nearby. The onlookers talked about it. And the ice crystal giant deer over there also changed their faces. They are professionals, and their level is not low. This is just the young people. The 3 adults standing behind the young people are probably here to protect them, and their level must be higher. However, these dozen of them sneaked out, and there was no strong family member following them. If there was a conflict, they would indeed be at a disadvantage. But after thinking about it, the ice crystal giant deer looked at the coniferous forest in the distance again, and his heart was slightly determined. There are so many coniferous tree people taking root there. Even if many coniferous tree people have turned into real coniferous trees over 10,000 years, even if many coniferous trees have died, it's okay. The remaining ones are all strong. The expression of the ice crystal giant deer fell into everyone's eyes, which made Pando and the others look even uglier. Why? They were prepared before they came, and consulted a lot of documents and books. Naturally, they knew that the coniferous forest was not completely reduced to symbolic significance at this time. When the foreign enemy came, the ancient strong men who were still alive in this coniferous forest could be awakened again. They had a conflict with the ice crystal giant deer at that time, and it would not be good if the coniferous tree people were awakened in the end. Although the 3 teachers behind them were of high rank, conflicts between those of high rank would have a big impact. For example, can a conflict between 2 master level people be the same as a conflict between 2 ordinary peasant women? The former would cause the sky to collapse, and the earth to split, and the plane to be destroyed, while the latter would cause hair and clothes to be pulled. Can they be compared? It's okay for them to make a fuss, but what if they provoke a strong person? Just as Panduo and several other students were thinking and weighing the pros and cons, a voice suddenly rang out. The 19th level, Rock Knight, who had been resting with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes, and then shouted coldly, "How can you implement the way of knights, if you are still timid with a backer? If something goes wrong, I'm here, the school is here, and the lava territory is here. What are you afraid of?" As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Lava. Lava territory? Are they nobles of lava territory? Fool. Lava territory now only has citizens, and the only noble is the duke. Wait, he just said, school? There were bursts of exclamations around. Lava territory. Great wasteland city. Lin Ke. Isn't this worth exclaiming? Now many people in lava territory are hot and sought after they come out. In the eyes of many Nasang strongmen, the most ordinary citizens of Dahuang City have some unique features, whether it is their words and deeds, mental state or knowledge reserves. After all, the Great Library is open to those who have issued Dahuang City citizen ID cards for free. A person with a good knowledge of poetry and books is naturally elegant. Therefore, at this time, in the eyes of everyone, Pando and his image has changed. From a small noble on the border, he has transformed into a student suspected of being a student of Dahuang University. Just like Glacier University, he is also a child of destiny. Chapter 723, The Terrifying Sword of Light Element. I'm here, the school is here, and the Great Wasteland City is here. What are you afraid of? As long as you stand up for the right, you don't have to be afraid of anything. The words of their responsible teacher immediately cheered up Panduo and the others. At the same time, the responsible teacher said again in a deep voice, just don't beat them to death. We will be responsible if anything happens. Just don't beat them to death. If anything happens, we will be responsible. Not to mention the intelligent life around them. Even Panduo and the others were stunned for a second. This is so awesome. The boy from the School of Economics couldn't help but turn around and ask, "Teacher, will this cause a diplomatic incident?" They had taken the Nasang Ring Plain situation and policy course and naturally knew that some small things would often become the fuse of some big things. Just like the previous forest hut, because when Lin Ke participated in the Nobles Review, he sent a legend to sneak attack the Great Wasteland City, which directly led to the destruction of this small force with several legends and gods. If they can't handle it well now, what are you thinking? At this time, the female teacher sneered, "These little deer are not qualified." Domineering. Even more than domineering. Panduo clearly saw that the female teacher's position was slightly tilted, just enough to show her whitest and most round and tender side to the male teacher. Who was that male teacher? Was he the dean of a certain college? At this moment, Panduo still had time to wonder. But soon he could not wonder. Because when the 10 of them wanted to rush forward, the ice crystal giant deer in front of them spoke again. Humph, it turns out that the Great Wilderness University is just a bully who can only fight in groups. The ice crystal giant deer spoke, and the ice crystal giant deer brothers on his left and right reacted quickly and stepped back a few steps. Then the ice crystal giant deer in the lead took a step forward, closed his eyes, and his magic power did not fluctuate at all, looking like he was ready to be killed. If they fought, it would indeed mean a group fight. So the 10 of them stopped, calmed the rolling magic power, and looked at each other. Finally, the boy from the School of Economics spoke up to accept a one-on-one fight, and Panduo suddenly raised his hand. "I can try to challenge you," Panduo said. The other 9 people looked over. Panduo was only 14 years old, and only at the level of a 5th level professional, the weakest among them. But at this time, Panduo took out his student card, input his magic power, and adjusted to a certain interface. Suddenly, a line of words appeared on the student card. School of Physics, Panduo Jax, killed 16 Void Star Beasts. 16 Void Star Beasts. The 3 teachers did not react, but the students reacted one by one. The boy from the School of Economics looked at the students on the left and right. "Everyone, let Panduo go." "I agree. What about you?" "Agree. Agree. Better than me. Go Panduo." All the students agreed. The onlookers and the ice crystal giant deer didn't know what was on the card Panduo took out, but they all saw one thing. Dahuang University was going to let this 5th level, thin, and young looking boy go to challenge the 7th level ice crystal giant deer. This is indeed a one-on-one fight. But this kid doesn't look as old as my kid. Can he fight? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. This is a student of Dahuang University. People around were pointing and talking. Who are you? The ice crystal giant deer opened his eyes and looked down at Panduo, who was walking slowly. Although his sentence was a question, his tone was superior and disdainful. Panduo's face was calm. He first pounded his chest and then said, I'm Panduo, a freshman in the 16th class of the Department of Energy, School of Physics, Dahuang University. My student number is 1513. Okay, stop talking. The ice crystal giant deer shook his head impatiently, then took 2 steps forward and looked into Panduo's eyes. If you fight with me, you must be prepared to be injured, seriously injured. Panduo didn't say anything, but the magic power in his body immediately boiled up. The will to fight boiled. Seeing this, the ice crystal giant deer's eyes flashed with a gleam and he snorted again. If you lose, you have to admit that your great wilderness university is not as good as our glacier university. There was an uproar around him, but Panduo remained unmoved. Seeing this, the ice crystal giant deer looked proud and said, what? Are you scared? Are you very weak? Or do you dare not admit your defeat? Panduo interrupted him calmly when he was halfway through the words, can we fight now? The ice crystal giant deer was furious, and the huge antlers on his head suddenly lit up with a bright glow, and magic power gushed out. As the pride of the family and a student of Glacier University, the talent of this ice crystal giant deer is unquestionable. There are many people coming and going around. Most of them are ordinary people, and only a few are professionals, but basically they are from level 1 to 3. What an amazing aura. This ice crystal giant deer has the appearance of a legend. So terrifying. At this time, the onlookers were suppressed by the aura of the ice crystal giant deer. They took several steps back and distanced themselves from Panduo and the others, leaving space. Hearing the exclamations of the onlookers, several students from Dahuang University couldn't help but feel helpless. Only the ignorant are fearless. When the cognitive level and level are low, seeing a student is considered to be able to go to Tsinghua University. When the cognitive level and level are high and enough information is known, the more you know how difficult it is. Just like now, the onlookers easily feel that the ice crystal giant deer can become a legend, because the ice crystal giant deer now gives them a strong sense of oppression, and the ice crystal giant deer is young, so they have this feeling. But if they are more than 10 levels of strong people, or can obtain enough knowledge, then they will know how difficult it is to become a legend. And just when several students were helpless, the ice crystal giant deer also launched an attack. You will pay the price for despising me. The ice crystal giant deer roared, then raised its front hooves high, stepped down heavily, and rushed forward. At the same time, a 1 meter long lightsaber gathered in the center of its antlers, and swung it towards Pando. Come on, young master. Our ice crystal giant deer is an existence comparable to holy life. Kill this 2-legged deer. The followers behind the ice crystal giant deer were also there to make a noise. The eyes and voices of the people around were also full of amazement, and those with good eyesight even exclaimed, that is the light element sword of the Vladino family. The Vladino family is the family to which the ice crystal giant deer belongs. It is very famous in the neighborhood, so everyone knows it. Andrew's leg. Is it the skill that is said to be able to kill even a level 10 strongman after it becomes powerful? The light element sword is a powerful skill bought from a legendary strongman in the Vladino family. It is very rare. It is said that there are also terrifying epic strongmen in this family. The audience was in a mess, but the scene suddenly became quiet in an instant, because a hand held the light element sword that was slashing down. Chapter 724 Focus on one point and reach the pinnacle. The sword of light element was coming with such force that many people even thought it was the most powerful skill they had ever seen. And this skill actually came from a giant ice deer that was not yet an adult. It's simply too terrifying. Some people whispered and some were horrified. However, just when many people thought that the little boy from the Great Wilderness University was going to be split in half, a hand stretched out and firmly grasped the sword of light element. This tender, slightly dark and thin hand was covered with a layer of bright yellow light and shadow, and it was this layer of light and shadow that blocked the sword of light element. The owner of this hand, Pando. It was Pando. Pando calmly grasped the so-called sword of light element with his right hand, stepped back slightly and stood still, slightly bent his knees and stood still. A light slightly lit up on his chest, and the magic power on his body was only slightly weaker than that of the giant ice deer. Several students from the Great Wilderness University were also discussing. Originally, the 10 of them had only known each other for a short time. After all, they were from different colleges and had never met each other. But at this time, they gradually became familiar with each other as they communicated. Is that the Vortex Core? The boy from the School of Economics had a gleam in his eyes at this time. Is it the Vortex Core that Professor Feudal mentioned? A girl next to him answered. Indeed, Professor Feudal mentioned it in the physics open class. This is a skill that is very suitable for students below level 10 to learn. Each college has open classes. As long as you are a student of Dahuang University, you can make an appointment on your student ID and then go to listen. The 10 selected students may not be the smartest or the most talented, but they must be the most hardworking and time conscious in their group. Dahuang University selects 10 students, and they must be from all walks of life and groups, and the more friends they make, the better, so that they can spread their battlefield experiences. So, although it was just an open class they had taken before, they still remember it. The Vortex Core skill is a skill developed by a professor. It is very suitable for students below level 10. It can be used to absorb a lot of energy to supply skills. But the problem is that this skill is too simple. You must know that the skill position at the legendary level is completely different from the skill position at the second level. The magic power at the second level, perhaps engraving a power enhancement on the skill position, will exhaust the magic power. What about the legendary level? Even if you want to carve a meteorite falling from the sky, you still have enough energy. If you want to carve the meteorite falling from the sky skill at level 2, you may have to drain your own magic power hundreds of times before you can carve it successfully. If carving a strength skill is a simple picture like a chicken pecking at rice, then carving a meteorite falling from the sky is like drawing a picture of 1,000 miles of rivers and mountains. Moreover, even if you carve it successfully, do you want to use this skill at level 2? No way. You only have one drop of ink at level 2, so you can draw a picture of a chicken pecking at rice, but how can you draw a picture of 1,000 miles of rivers and mountains? The magic power of level 2 is input into such a huge skill position, and the final result is like a drop of water into the desert. Therefore, although there are countless skills in Dahuang City, not every skill can be exchanged and carved. Skills also cost money. Of course, the skills that have been researched can also be sold for money. For students, it is credits. You can use credits to exchange skills, or you can follow the professor to do topics and projects, and then get credits after you come up with skills. This is one of the benefits of students in Dahuang City. Of course, the skills exchanged for credits can only be used by yourself. If someone wants Lin Ke's unique skill, that's fine, but it's a bit expensive. In fact, many people's first skill is a streamlined air pressure shield. But many people also overestimate themselves. Most of them don't have Lin Ke's talent, so naturally they don't have that kind of control over magic, so at most they can only form a shield. It's very difficult to form wind blades like Lin Ke, or even form air pressure in various shapes. At this time, one of the skills used by their classmate Panduo, Vortex Core, is a skill that can be engraved at level 2. As students of Dahuang, many people have decent talents, and they usually don't engrave a simple skill in their level 2 skill positions. Because even if the skill position reaches the legendary level, there are only 10. It must be used and planned reasonably. Dahuang University also offers open courses such as skill position planning. What about the other skill? At this time, the boy from the School of Economics asked, and it seemed that he was not familiar with Panduo's other skill. The other students looked at each other, and no one could say it. At this time, the female teacher behind them spoke. That is the Goya energy arm developed by Professor Goya. It is a skill derived from her energetics project. The price is 1000 coins, or 2 credits. After hearing this, several people suddenly understood, except for the boy from the School of Economics and a girl from the Night Academy who looked puzzled. So a boy from the School of Chemistry explained. Professor Goa from the School of Physics is said to have made great achievements in electrical energy and light energy. She is a level 15 professional. The project research on the correlation and difference between natural lightning and artificial lightning has received funding for ordinary projects. Funding will also be established, and the classification is also ordinary, elemental, epic, starlight, and legendary. In addition to money, there are various human and material resources. For example, epic projects can apply for small secondary planes for research, and legendary projects can even apply for several large secondary planes of the college for research, and everything in them can be used. Yes, it's Professor Goya. The female teacher looked at her students with admiration in her eyes. Her students were neither arrogant nor impatient, and they were also willing to help and answer each other's questions, which was very much loved by the teacher. She pointed at Pando, who was constantly colliding and bombarding with the Goya energy arm and the sword of light element, and said again, "Look, Pando used the Goya energy arm and the vortex core, which were also worth 2 credits, to fight against the sword of light element, which required at least 4 credits, and he was not at a disadvantage. Why is that?" Several students immediately began to observe carefully. When the people around heard the female teacher's words, they also subconsciously observed and thought carefully. This is a teacher of Dahuang University. Among the billions of intelligent beings in Assange, how many people finally called them teachers of Dahuang University? And how many people can hear about what happened in Dahuang University? How many people can accept the teachings of those teachers? At this time, the onlookers were already feasting their eyes to see the students of Dahuang University and Glacier University fighting, and they could also hear the teachings of the teachers of Dahuang University, which was completely worth the trip. Just as everyone was thinking about it, the girl from the Night Academy with a resolute face suddenly spoke up in a cold voice. Focus on one thing, and reach the pinnacle. Chapter 725. Let your adults come to see me. As soon as this was said, everyone reacted. The Night Academy of Dahuang University has always had a legend, which was passed down by their senior. And this legend has also been heard by other colleges. That is, focus on one point, and reach the pinnacle. This project was applied for by a student of the first class of the Night Academy of Dahuang University. The student's family has been farmers for generations, and he himself is also an older student. For more than 10 years, apart from studying, he can only swing a hoe to farm. Fortunately, Dahuang University is a place where 100 flowers bloom, and the student also applied for a project. That is to swing a hoe for a year, and see what kind of effect can be achieved in the end. The review teacher of the Night Academy approved this project. And the most amazing thing is the performance of the student at the end of the project. The student actually overturned the 15th level assessment teacher with a hoe. Coupled with his research report, he directly became a rising star of the Night Academy. It is said that the dean was directly alarmed, and even John cast his eyes on him and gave the student a reward. Even at the later 100 Schools of Thought conference, the specialization theory was created, advocating that one should delve into and concentrate on a certain thing to achieve perfection. This theory has many followers and believers. So, although the student from the School of Physics has only depicted 2 relatively simple skills, the vortex core and the Goya energy arm, after mastering them, they are no worse than the sword of light element. The female teacher patiently explained and reminded the students, you can have many hobbies, but it is best to specialize in one thing, so that you are more likely to achieve great development. Let me tell you secretly that the great, unique, supreme, handsome, and elegant Lord Lin Ke also appreciates the specialization theory. After reminding the students, the female teacher playfully stuck out her tongue in the direction of the male teacher. The male teacher looked at Pando's battle over there with a smile on his face, without looking away. At this time, Pando was still calm and composed, but the ice crystal giant deer was already a little angry. Damn it. How can you stop me? You are just a level 5 professional. I will kill you. Several minutes had passed, but the ice crystal giant deer still had not defeated the level 5 Panduo with a crushing advantage, which made him more and more angry. In addition to the sword of light element, he also used 2 other skills, but still could not do anything to Panduo. No matter where he attacked from, or how he attacked, Panduo could calmly resist. Just 2 simple skills, but the ice crystal giant deer was helpless. At this time, the voice of the female teacher sounded again on the field. The female teacher raised her voice and said, "Panduo, 5 minutes have passed. We have given enough face. We still have things to do. Let's solve it." There was a lot of discussion around. 5 minutes. They fought for 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes, and the teacher said that she had given enough face. And the meaning behind his words. This student named Panduo could have solved the ice crystal giant deer a long time ago, but he only fought for so long to save his face. The faces of the 2 people on the field also began to change. Panduo smiled, but the ice crystal deer was shocked and angry. The ice crystal deer said angrily, "You humiliate." But before he finished speaking, Panduo took a step forward easily, then bent his legs and bounced up, and hit the ice crystal deer on the chin with a hook. Before the ice crystal deer could react, Panduo kicked the ice crystal deer in the chest again. Layers of magic shields appeared on the ice crystal deer's body, but under Goya's energy arm, it seemed like paper, and his body flew backwards. However, Panduo's attack did not end, but rushed forward to pursue, and his fists fell like a rainstorm. Although he was a student of the School of Physics, Panduo was also a passionate boy. He often went to the outdoor open classes of the Night Academy, as well as hand-to-hand combat classes. Moreover, student Panduo killed 16 Void Star Beasts, and he is just a playboy. At this time, a student from the Great Wilderness University whispered, "Every Friday afternoon, Dahuang University has a defense battle activity to train students' practical and self-defense abilities, because even a purely liberal arts profession like author may have to participate in the battle one day. As freshmen, even if they participate, they can basically kill only a few, and can only play some auxiliary roles. Most of them are still teachers and seniors who are in the front, and Panduo can actually kill 16. And he is from the School of Physics. At least the Dahuang City side knows that Panduo's combat power must be very strong. The more they receive education, the more they know. Level does not represent everything. Otherwise, wouldn't those 21st level ones in the secondary plane have rushed out long ago? Level does not represent strength, let alone on-the-spot performance. Therefore, they believe that Panduo, who killed 16 Void Star Beasts, can definitely defeat the ice crystal giant deer and of course, the ending is not beyond their expectations. But the ice crystal giant deer and his gang of younger brothers are anxious. What are you doing? Damn it. Do you know who you are beating? Stupid, despicable, disgusting 2-legged. They wanted to run forward one by one, shouting loudly, and the ice crystal giant deer verbally insulted and cursed. Even their magic power was gushing out, as if they were going to fight in a group. This made the other 9 students alert, and they were ready to fight with magic power gushing out. In the distance, the guards guarding the teleportation array also gathered here, but their weapons were aimed at Panduo and the others. Haha, interesting. Seeing this scene, the male teacher smiled. The Rock Knight glanced at the female teacher and asked, "Don't they know you? Hurry up and solve it. Let's rush to the battlefield as soon as possible. I think the principal doesn't want to waste time here. It's okay for me." The male teacher waved his hand and smiled. This is the only way to see the truest side of Nassim. Their words were only heard by the 3 of them. However, just as they finished speaking, an extremely powerful aura burst out, as mighty as a terrifying river, suppressing the area several kilometers nearby. Many people coming and going in the teleportation array were confused, and were either frightened or confused. The guards near the teleportation array not far away were alarmed, and even the coniferous forest in the distance had a little movement, but few people noticed it. And the source of this aura, the female teacher. At this time, the female teacher's body was floating in the air, and the wide wizard robe fluttered without wind, and the snow-white long legs inside were looming. But at this time, no one paid attention to her long legs. The female teacher's eyes burst into white light, and she snorted coldly, who just said that the human race is a despicable and disgusting two-legged deer. While speaking, the magic power on her body fluctuated violently, and at the same time, waves of shock waves came from the ground. Wow. Suddenly, countless tiny molecules condensed to the ground, and then condensed into thin and pale arms. Organic member, skill, experimental assistant. I saw those half-broken arms swaying one by one, as if they grew out of the ground. Then these arms rushed forward and grabbed the dozen giant ice crystal deer. At this time, the female teacher floated over, looking down at the group of deer, her voice without any emotion, as if she were a god. You adults don't dare to talk to me like this. Who gives you the courage? Before I became a teacher, who didn't know about my 2 machetes in the north. What, do you think I can't lift the knife? Let your adults come to see me, and say that the North Switch Thunderbolt knife is here. Let them roll out to see me. If you come too late, you don't have to live. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.